93.3 Clearwater and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. It's Thursday from Citrus Park to Bayonet Point and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full-court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Welcome aboard on this Let It Ride Thursday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. The Drive with TKras, presented by Moss Nissan, is on the air. Great to have you with us. Executive producer Chris Mathis, also along for the ride. And, of course, you there. We are live in living color, don't you know, on the FM side at 95.3, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app. It's free. It's new and improved. So many awesome features. There's a scan button so you can scan your favorite radio stations. There's also a favorite button like presets. So you go on there, you favorite our station, WDAE. You can also favorite your favorite podcast like the Drive podcast. Make sure you favorite that. Commercial-free podcasts of this hideous show can be accessed through the iHeartRadio app. It's a beautiful thing. You can listen to us from anywhere in the civilized world through the app. So get on it. And good afternoon to all of you watching us. We are streaming the show. It is working. We're on YouTube, X, and Facebook.
Great.
It is great at 953 WDAE and AM 620. Like and subscribe all day, every day.
Oof.
The phone numbers, you know them, you love them. Now use them. Plenty of ways to interact on this show. 888-546-4620. You can text in your thoughts at 82945 on the Bartow Ford DAE text platform. Begin your text with DAE, followed by your...
on the phone for 3 hours. Let me.
Well, you know what? Get on the phone, and maybe I'll let you finish. We haven't heard from Todd in Tampa.
I wonder why, right?
Since while they lost to the Commanders, you know, he had the Bucs beating, the 72 Dolphins, 35-3.
No.
What?
Come on.
Insulted him a little bit.
No,
You're right, though.
They're fans. Fans are like, you know what? Bucs versus 85 Bears. I'm taking the Bucs.
He's more than just a fan, though. That guy is die hard.
He is passionate, and I actually applaud him for that. And, I don't necessarily agree with some of the things he says, but you cannot deny the passion, the energy, the positivity that he brings to the table. So it is a beautiful thing.
Oof.
You got that right. And all guests will appear, by the way, on the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Great show. We're on the air until 7 o'clock. At the bottom of the hour, our college football insider, Barrett Sallee, will join us. We will preview the national championship game, which takes place Monday. By the way, you can listen to that game, Ohio State against Notre Dame, right here on WDAE on Monday night, right after we get off the air at 6:30. So who's got the edge? It's a 7 playing an 8, which I find interesting. So none of the top 6 seeds made it, although I had a really big problem with the seeding process. Boise State getting a high seed, Arizona State getting a high seed. They were seeded, 3 and 4 respectively. I didn't like that. Oregon was 1, and they got their doors blown off by Ohio State. So a 7 against an 8, it should be an interesting game. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be really entertaining. Ohio State does have the advantage. But can Notre Dame's speed and their defense and Marcus Freeman give Ryan Day all they can handle? We'll talk to Barrett Sallee about that. We'll also ask Barrett Sallee about this story that's been circulating over the last 24 hours regarding Bill Belichick. So Belichick goes to North Carolina, has the press conference, but according to reports, he hasn't signed the contract yet. And that's leading some to believe that maybe he could, weasel his way out of that deal if another NFL team comes calling. I don't know who that NFL team would be.
So what's the question?
Well, the question here, Tommy Boy, is Would you want your former coach to join you out in Vegas? And to be quite honest, it makes sense from a lot of different areas. One, Brady's there. He's calling the shots. Double standard. Doesn't matter. Brady can do whatever he wants. I think that's been established. And number two, Belichick to the Raiders makes a lot of sense because of what we've been saying the last 2 weeks. If you're going to take the Raiders job, if you're going to compete in that division, you need a heavyweight coach. Not some slapdick prospect. You need a guy who's been there and done that. And Brady's got the relationship with Belichick and vice versa. And you're going into a division that has Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, and Sean Payton. Can you imagine if Belichick went to the Raiders? And you're in that division, those four heavyweights, duking it out for the next several years?
Choke him now.
Choke him. Choke him. Choke him.
What's the question?
The question here, Sean Payton, is would that make you a little nervous if the hoodie ended up in your division? I think it'd be great. So this Belichick story, and even though Mike Lombardi, who's Belichick's right-hand man, he's the general manager of North Carolina, he continuously, and I saw him on Twitter today, he's been shooting down these stories, but I'm telling you, these stories are coming from somewhere. NFL teams have reached out to Belichick. He hasn't signed his contract yet. So is there some sort of leeway with the buyout if you don't sign the contract? Or there's a lot of things here that still are unresolved. And, you know, we'll pick Barrett Sallee's brain about that as well as the national championship game. Barrett Sallee at 3:30. And then at 4 o'clock, more on the Bucs in the NFL in the aftermath of their loss. I can't believe nobody brought a duck to the Commandos game. I didn't see one. Did anyone see one? Why wasn't there a duck? I'm dismayed by all this. Maybe Rick Stroud can clear that up, as well as Liam Cohen. He interviewed in Jacksonville. Do we know how that interview went? Will he get any other interviews? There's a lot of Buccaneer questions, and we'll try and get some answers with Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times at tampabay.com. You will join us at 4 o'clock. We've got Let It Ride in the 5 o'clock hour. Some great props for the playoff games over the weekend. You got the Lightning. They're hosting, you know, pardon the pun, irony, the Lightning and the Ducks tonight at Amalie Arena. The Ducks are in town.
Yeah, I was thinking about that as well this morning. I'm like, all right, what might happen here?
Well, the same Ducks team that beat the Lightning earlier this month out there, another one of those games where the Lightning got off to a bad start. Is Braden Point going to show up tonight, or I don't know?
No.
What?
You insulted him a little bit.
He used to be a roommate of mine. What's the matter with you? I'm hoping Braden Point, you know, has his alarm clock set or whatever. I think he was at the morning skate. I think he'll be there tonight. Braden Point is going to come out with a vengeance tonight. I just, my hunch in dealing with him, you know, we've had our spats back and forth when he was my roommate. By the way, that was like a gag that we used to play on the show for many years. You know, I've run into people from time to time who say, hey, man, how was Braden Point as a roommate? I go, he was never my roommate. That was a gag.
That's awesome. But that's the thing. Someone in your position, they're going to believe you. You know, they're going to take, some people will take things too literally.
Yes, this is true. And it's an accurate depiction of the kind of society that we live in, even though we made it clear that, like, that wasn't a thing. People believed it. They buy into it. 888-546-4620. So a lot to do here on the show all the way up until 7 o'clock. You know, we've got our eyes peeled for the NFL divisional playoff games this weekend. It's going to be epic. 2 games on Saturday, 2 more on Sunday. What can the Buccaneers learn by watching those games this weekend? That is the theme of our opening drive here on a Let It Ride Thursday.
Start the engine. Gas to the floor. Here's the opening drive.
Yeah, Todd Bowles is going to be grunting, watching the games this weekend. The opening drive presented by the award-winning Chattanooga Whiskey 91, available at your favorite Tampa retail store. Drink Chattanooga whiskey, and as always, enjoy responsibly. So Todd Bowles the other day, his end-of-season presser, he was asked, hey, listen, what is it going to take in order to get to the next level with this Buccaneer team? What do you guys need to be thinking about? What do you guys need to be doing in the future, especially to win in the playoffs? And here was the head coach on that for Monday.
Just doing the little things right, not turning the ball over, getting off the field on third down. Those are the little things that happened all year that came up at the end. Good stretch defensively of playing third downs, didn't play them well last night. They got the turnover in the plus territory inside the red zone right there. It won't take injuries because people go to playoffs with injuries all the time. That's not even a factor.
Well, look, injuries happen for a lot of teams, and for the Buccaneers, unfortunately, the safety position was ravaged by injuries to the point where they had to bring back Mike Edwards. Jordan Whitehead, when he was out there, he did not have a good season. The year was a complete washout for Antoine Winfield Jr. after the Buccaneers paid him all that money, so they did not get a return on their investment. Hopefully he comes back next year with a vengeance. But injuries certainly were a factor. A lot of teams deal with that sort of thing. But I think when the Buccaneers watch the playoff games this weekend, they're going to do so with a certain scent of jealousy to it. I think the Buccaneers feel like they should still be playing because their style of play is conducive to going out and winning no matter who you're playing. I think to win in the playoffs, and I think the teams that are still alive have proven it. You've got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to stop the run, and you got to put points up on the board. You throw to score, you pass the score, you run to win. And I thought the Buccaneers really checked all of those marks. And if you look at the teams that are still alive, the Lions have done a pretty good job. They're one of the best running teams in the league. They do a good job of stopping the run. The Commanders were a top 5 team in running the football, mainly because of Jaden Daniels, their quarterback, who had an extraordinary rookie campaign. I know a lot of Buccaneer fans are lamenting the fact that, we lost to another rookie quarterback. Yeah, let's fire the coach. Jaden Daniels is not your run-of-the-mill, ordinary, wide-eyed rookie quarterback. If you watched him play, you would know that. He had 6 fourth-quarter comebacks this season as a rookie. That's extraordinary. And that shows you how special he is. And I think I made the case yesterday. I think Jaden Daniels is going to win a Super Bowl one day. I think he's that good. Washington, credit to them, man. They figured out the most important position. Now they just need to fill the guys in around him. And they're going into Detroit this weekend playing with house money. Because I don't think anybody expects them to win. The Lions are almost a 10-point favorite in this game. That's the late game on Saturday. I'm certainly going to be watching it, but I think the Lions are going to blow them away, honestly. Just my opinion. I think they'll win by double digits. I would lay the points. They've had a couple of weeks to prepare. They're getting guys back healthy again. But I think the Buccaneers are going to be grinding their teeth watching these games this weekend thinking we should be here because of how great their running game was. And you can go anywhere and win with that formula. The way the Bucs ran the ball, the way they stopped the run. You had a big play quarterback, really good receivers. The defense obviously was, a source of contention. Like in the second half of games, the last 6 games heading into the playoffs, they were very good. Second half against the Commanders, not so much against the kid who came in and lit the world on fire, and Jaden Daniels. Bucs going to get off the field. They did turn over the Commandos twice on downs. Washington never punted, but that's something that the Buccaneers are going to be smarting about. In order to get off the field, you've got to have a guy that other teams fear. Not that they don't fear Vita Vea. I would fear him, especially around the dinner table. I'm just joking. Thanks a lot. I think Kalijah Kancey is emerging as a player. Now, Kalijah Kancey wasn't able to close the deal on that third down play where, he grabbed the towel of Jaden Daniels. Problem is, it's not flag football. You got to grab the guy and get him down to the ground. And I guarantee you, Kalijah Kancey is going to be thinking about that play the entire offseason. It was very young players. It was rookies and second-year players. Obviously, Jalen McMillan and Baker Mayfield on the biggest play of the game, the fumble, deep in their own territory. They will be thinking about that play the entire offseason. But Jalen McMillan was a part of it. He's a rookie. Graham Barton, premature snap, rookie. Kalijah Kancey, second-year player, very young player. And they made big mistakes at inopportune times. Those guys had an opportunity to make a play, especially in the case of Kalijah Kancey, and they didn't make it. And that's another thing that the Buccaneers are going to learn. When you watch the games this weekend, you're going to see teams with impact players who know how to close the door, who know how to close things out.
Put that coffee down. Coffee's for closers only.
Chris Jones is going to be having some coffee this weekend. I can tell you that. I think Zadarius Smith, Alex Anzalone, I think they'll be having coffee this weekend because they're going to close out the Commando season. I think ditto Ravens, Roquan Smith and company, Michael Pierce, Kyle Hamilton. Ravens Bills is certainly going to be a tremendous game, but when you watch all these games this weekend, you're going to see elite defensive players close things out. And I think that's something that the Buccaneers need to look for. They need to find that defensive stopper. They need to find that guy off the edge that will put fear into the hearts of opposing offensive coordinators and quarterbacks. But mind you, those guys are very hard to find. Yesterday and the day before, people were like, let's go get Myles Garrett or Micah Parsons. I don't think the Browns and the Cowboys would be dumb enough to make those guys available. Those guys do not become available. And if those said teams were to make those guys available, there would be a line around the block for those guys. So we know edge rusher and certainly corner, in my opinion, are the positions that the Buccaneers need to be thinking about. And we'll talk to Rick Stroud coming up at 4 o'clock, and we'll try and find out how the Buccaneers can find those players. Are they going to have a lot of salary cap room? That's another question. Right now, according to Over the Cap, they've got $11.7 million. They will carry over some cap space from this year to next year. But here's what you need to keep in mind. And, people, and I've been dealing with people who want, this guy or that guy. Like Shavarius Ward, like the one guy was mentioning yesterday. Shavarius Ward made like $18 million this year. You think that he's going to come here for less than that? I mean, $15 million maybe is the basement.
Say that again.
The Buccaneers want to retain their own free agents first. They've done this the last several years on the Jason Live before they even think about looking at outside free agents. And a lot of outside free agents that some fans are bringing up are just not realistic. They're not. The Bucs want to see if they can bring back Chris Godwin, Levante David. I think Ben Bredesen is another guy. The Bucs have a number of free agents that I think they want to bring back. I think there are a number of free agents that they're going to let walk out the door, and they should. He's a great kid, but Joe Tryon-Shoyinka should be walking. I don't think he'll be back. There are other guys, other free agents that the Buccaneers have that should be allowed to walk out the door. And I think the Buccaneers, have already, quite honestly, I think they've already made that decision on a number of their players, honestly. Todd Bowles stood up there the other day. He's like, I'm not sure what we're going to do. The season just ended. Really? They know what they're doing, and they know how to do it. They know which free agents they want to bring back. Godwin, yes. Levante, yes. Anthony Nelson, That's going to be an interesting case because if you're looking to upgrade at that position, I think the Bucs see him as a rotational guy. But what, at $5 million or whatever it was, whatever he made this past season, if another team offers him somewhere in that neighborhood, I think he's going to leave as well. Brendan made $3 million. I think he's going to want more than that. Kyle Trask, I think, is walking. I think William Golston might retire. Sterling Shepard, I don't think he's coming back. If you're bringing Godwin back, you're certainly not bringing that guy back. Shaq Barrett is an interesting case. I think on a 1-year, probably veteran minimum deal with some incentives. If he loves Tampa Bay that much, maybe he'll consider that. And Robert Hainsey as a depth guy along the O-line. Bryce Hall got hurt early. Maybe the Bucs would be open to bringing him back on a 1-year deal. Ryan Neal, free agent. I don't think he's coming back. Mike Edwards, free agent, maybe. And then you have KJ Britt and JJ Russell. I think Russell, yes. I think Britt, not so much. Servassier Dennis will be back next year. I think the Buccaneers have high hopes for him. So before you even start thinking about signing this guy or that guy on the free agent market, I know it's a fun conversation to have as a fan. I don't think the Buccaneers are thinking about that right now. They're thinking about how much money are we going to have, and our priority is who can re-sign. I think Godwin and Levante are right there at the top of the list. And the Buccaneers are going to have to make decisions on those guys. I think both guys want to come back, and honestly, I think both of those guys will return. 888-546-4620. I know the Bucs are going to be watching this weekend. I know I'm going to be watching thinking I should be working this weekend. I should be working on Countdown to Kickoff, hyped up about the overtime show. I'm not happy about not working this weekend. I wanted to work this weekend. And the Buccaneers wanted to work this weekend. And you as fans, you probably thought that they would be working this weekend as well, playing on divisional playoff weekend, which is the best weekend of football, really, outside of the Super Bowl. I mean, 2 intriguing games Saturday and 2 more on Sunday. Bills and Ravens, the late game on Sunday. Give me some of that. Go to Pat in Clearwater. Pat, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Oh, you're a Hall of Famer, Tom. Yes, you are. Listen, what bothers me about Todd Bowles and this Liam Cohen, you get to that play where they fumble. Why take the ball out of the guy's hands that got you to the playoffs? Let me put you in. You're a Baker Mayfield. Uh-huh. Aren't you a little pissed off that you didn't get a shot at that? He just ran over the Commanders linebacker. He ran for 35 yards. He threw 2 great dimes in the New Orleans game. He brought them back. He pitched it out to Bucky Irvin. I'm thinking for another go-ahead touchdown. I'm thinking, and they call a play and take the ball out of his hands. They didn't score the touchdowns. This is the problem that I have with the 2 of them. They don't have the confidence in Baker to let him do it, to win the damn game. It's like, and I'm watching this game, and I'm thinking, why would you call that play? This guy, Liam Cohen, has got so much credit, where Baker has bailed his ass out all season long when the plays don't work. And, if I'm Baker, I'm pissed. Not because I dropped the damn ball. It's because of the play call. That's the problem I have with Todd, who doesn't have a clue, and Liam, who can't call the right play for the right time. I don't get it.
I understand your frustration, Pat. Thank you very much for the phone call because we got to run to a break. Look, the play calls on offense have nothing to do with the head coach. That's Liam Cohen. He's the offensive coordinator. And you're talking about the jet sweep. That's a play that the Buccaneers have run countless times. Dozens of times. They practice it all the time. And when you're talking about a jet sweep and the guy coming in motion, running full speed just about, the timing has to be precise. And if it's off just a tick, you saw what can happen. And it's frustrating. I get it. I thought the design run for Baker Mayfield after Bucky Irving had the 9-yard run, I thought that was an awful play. Baker's at his best. I mean, look, he's not Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels, where you're calling design runs for the guy. I wouldn't recommend that. His best runs come off scrambles, off schedule plays, where he goes back to pass and his first progression, his second read is not there. Then he takes off and runs, and for some reason, nobody's spying on him. Those are his best runs, not these design runs. If you're going to have a design run, give it to Bucky. And I think that's a play that Liam Cohen wants back. And then the play after that was the whole botch snap thing, which was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. We'll talk more about the Bucs. Rick Stroud will join us at 4 o'clock. Also coming up in the 4 o'clock hour on this program, all year long we played this Beat the Pro or Beat the Amateur contest.
Yeah, I like Beat the Amateur a little bit more, right?
Yeah, thanks. And a lot of people qualified, but there can only be one winner of the grand prize. And coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to announce who that winner is. So stay tuned for that announcement coming up at 4 o'clock. Rick Stroud straight up at 4 o'clock. Let it ride at 5:30. We're on the air until 7. All right, on the way back, does Notre Dame have a shot at beating Ohio State in the national championship game? And is there a chance, any chance, that Bill Belichick weasels out of that deal with North Carolina and goes back to the NFL? A lot of interesting questions in the college game. We'll talk about it. Our guy, college football insider Barrett Sallee, will join the show coming up next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the new year, and you need to be thinking about kicking off the new year by impressing her, meaning your better half, with a wonderful, stunning diamond from our friends over at the Golden Diamond Source. It's timeless, and that's what they do over at the Golden Diamond Source. They've done it now for 40 years, and if you're ready to pop the question, Chris Mathis did. He got his engagement ring at the Golden Diamond Source. He found the perfect one, and Lily did say yes. I'm not going to do the impersonation today. Don't worry about it, because I don't know if she even likes it. But you can find the perfect engagement ring regardless at the Golden Diamond Source. And if she's got a birthday this month, you can make her January birthday or her 2nd and 6th wedding anniversary unforgettable with up to 15% off garnet. That is the January birthstone, don't you know? And while you're there, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub. It's a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And turn old, unused gold into cold, hard cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up than right now at the Golden Diamond Source. So check them out, 3800 Omerton Road in Clearwater, and they're always online at goldendiamond.com.
For information about contests on this station, go to 953wdae.com/rules. Shift into high gear for the Drive with TKras, courtesy of Moss Nissan, only on WDAE.
What do you say to people that fear that if you do succeed here, that you might leave for the NFL again in a year or two?
Yeah, I didn't come here to leave.
Boy, everybody was applauding Bill Belichick. That was the introductory press conference. He said, hey, listen, I came here because I thought maybe the NFL wasn't interested. I didn't come here to leave, yada, yada, yada. Is that really going to take place? Because there is a report out there that Bill Belichick has not yet signed his contract with North Carolina. What does that mean? And, of course, we got the national championship game coming up on Monday night. Who you got? Notre Dame or hot shot and high-flying Ohio State, the Buckeyes? Of course, we need to get the answers to all of these pressing questions by our guy. He's on the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. College Football Insider, Barrett Sallee, Smothered and Covered Podcast, SiriusXM, Outkick. You can catch him there. And Barrett Sallee is back with us here. How are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm great. Just waiting, 5 days from the national championship in my backyard. So things are going well.
Yeah, in your backyard, and we'll get into that in a matter of moments. But you heard Bill Belichick. You've seen the stories out there, Barrett. What do you make of this? Do you think that maybe there is some regret maybe on the part of Bill Belichick, or is this just not a non-story for you?
It's a non-story. Look, I'm not going to pretend to know what Bill Belichick's actually thinking, but any report that says he hasn't signed his contract, I mean, that's par for the course. That's, I hate to criticize other people and other outlets, but that's just clickbait. I mean, it's all it is. Pretty much every coach in America works off of memorandum of understanding for a very long time. Usually it's about 6 months or so. And, I mean, hell, Willie Taggart at Florida State never signed a contract ever, so it's totally normal. The fact that it's getting portrayed as some sort of scandal or sign that somebody's interested or he might go to the NFL or whatever, this is not it. Sure, I mean, maybe he is interested in going to the Cowboys or the Raiders or whoever, but him not signing his contract and working off a memorandum of understanding is absolutely no proof of that whatsoever. It has nothing to do with it.
Gotcha. All right, let's get to the game because I know you're excited. I really love what I've seen out of Notre Dame on this run. Ohio State obviously has been very, very impressive. And do you find it curious that it's a 7 against an 8? Now, I was not a fan of how they seeded these teams once they made up the 12-team bracket, but your thoughts on a 7 taking on an 8 for all the marbles?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Ohio State, they got hot at the right time, and that's kind of what people wanted when the playoff expanded, right? They wanted the NFL model where teams get in and a certain team gets hot and wins the Super Bowl, even though they didn't really earn it during the regular season. That's exactly what has happened with Ohio State and Notre Dame too, to a lesser extent, I guess. The one loss Northern Illinois is not good at all, but they do have the nation's longest winning streak going. So I think it's the seeding needs to be changed for sure. It's not going to be changed, but it absolutely needs to be changed in order to really truly find a national champion. But in the end, I've always been a proponent of the BCS and then the 14 playoff. I didn't want expansion. But what we have is, a team in Ohio State that lost 2 games, one of them in embarrassing fashion to end the season, and another in Notre Dame who has a pretty bad scar on its record too. But the seeding needs to be changed. I mean, I don't think there's anything. We can sit here and talk about the 4 automatic bids going to 4 conference champions. That's not good in and of itself. But I think a lot of this could be just fixed if you just reseed after the first round.
Exactly, and I'm a big proponent of that. And you just touched on something that we were mentioning yesterday here on the show and on the TV side as well. Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois, and since then, they've won 13 in a row. That was probably the best thing that could have happened to Marcus Freeman's club. And in a strange way, Ohio State, obviously losing to Michigan, was embarrassing at the time, but that lit a fire under Ryan Day and his team, and since then, they've been like gangbusters.
Yeah, it's true in life, it's true in football, it's true in business. Your failures are what you learn from the most. Right?
Yep.
You can sit here and have a ton of success, and that's great. You can keep doing what you're doing to be successful. That's not sustainable. What is sustainable is evolving with the way things, with the trials and tribulations that face you. And Notre Dame learned from its mistakes, and clearly, like you said, they are what they are. I think for Ohio State, it wasn't just losing the rivalry game; it was how they lost it. Right? It was the fact that Chip Kelly, just for whatever reason, forgot that his wide receivers existed. And, stuff like that makes you sort of take a look in the mirror and be like, all right, well, how do we fix it? And clearly Ohio State has fixed it. It's fun to see stories like that, right? Where I'm not in favor of this expanded playoff or whatever, but to see 18 to 22-year-old young men, see that, experience that, and use that to their advantage is something they can take well beyond their football years.
College football insider Barrett Sallee is with me here on The Drive, the national championship games on Monday night. So Penn State, in their semifinal loss against Notre Dame, did not complete one pass to a wide receiver. So Notre Dame didn't have to face anybody on the outside that threatened them. This is the complete opposite coming up on Monday night here, Barrett. So is that the main matchup that you're going to be watching, whether Notre Dame can hold down Jeremiah Smith and company, their outside perimeter guys?
Well, it's sort of a byproduct, right? I think the first thing is it's actually not. It's the defensive front for Notre Dame getting pressure on Will Howard, because Ohio State's offensive line has been a liability at times, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if that pressure gets to Will Howard, it's going to make it a lot harder for him to find Jeremiah Smith, find Emeka Egbuka, find those talented wide receivers. And I apologize for my dogs. They want to join the show too. But it's I think it's sort of a byproduct of the defensive front. If Ohio State's offensive line can hold up, then I think absolutely you're going to see that matchup become the biggest of the game. But ultimately, I think it's in the trenches. Most games are in the trenches anyway. But if Will Howard has time and Chip Kelly has time to scheme things up against a defensive front that's not getting a lot of pressure, then those Notre Dame DBs better be ready, because Jeremiah Smith and crew are coming.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so when it comes down to it, you mentioned the battle in the trenches, the quarterback play certainly going to be one to watch, with Riley Leonard on one side, Will Howard on the other side. At the end of the night, who wins this game on Monday night, Barrett, and why?
I think it's Notre Dame. Notre Dame finds a way to play its brand of football all the time. All the time. Even in the loss to Northern Illinois, that was exactly the way Notre Dame wants to play. And Marcus Freeman is smart enough to know that he doesn't know everything. And so when he needs to throttle down and feels like he doesn't have to get crazy, he'll be smart enough to understand that. I think Riley Leonard showed last week that he can stretch things through the air. He's a perfectly fine passer, working off that play action. We know what Jeremiah Love is. We know what Price can do. I think Notre Dame keeps this game in a phone booth, which is exactly how they like it. And Ohio State, they can play that way, but they don't want to play that way. So I'll take Notre Dame in the upset.
Wow. I like Notre Dame in the points, and you're just going right out there saying they will upset Ohio State and win it. I love it, man. I think it's going to be a heck of a game on Monday night. I can't wait.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
All right, Barrett Sallee, you can catch him Smothered and Covered podcasts, Outkick, get him there, as well as SiriusXM. All right, go walk your dog. I think he's calling on you.
They're not happy that I'm talking to you right now, apparently.
Nobody's happy that they're talking to me at any point. Thank you, Barrett. Enjoy the game on Monday, my friend.
Thanks, man. See ya.
You got it. It's Barrett Sallee. Oh, man. Who was the other guest? Was it like Cynthia Freeland's dogs? Weren't they barking too?
Oh yeah, they barked a couple of times.
Oh,
two or three different times.
Why does my presence evoke like these awful thoughts and this predatory behavior from these dogs, man. They just want to bark and attack.
You're like the dog whisperer, if you will.
They hear my voice, Chris Mathis, and they want to tear me apart, these dogs. What's going on here? He likes Notre Dame in an upset. I like Notre Dame a lot, too. I love Marcus Freeman. I do. I like their defense. Riley Leonard, though, he threw 2 picks against Penn State. He can't do that. He's got to play mistake-free. Jeremiah Love is tough, man. That touchdown run he had against Penn State, that's like one of the best 2-yard touchdown runs you will ever see. He's a tough, grinded-out football player. I think it's going to be a heck of a game Monday night. Ohio State, Notre Dame, national title on the line. By the way, you can listen to it right here on WDAE. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Rick Stroud coming up just after 4 o'clock. On the way back, a very sad day and an awful loss for the sports community and the entertainment community. We'll tell you about it next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
It is the new year, guys, and if you're still experiencing roof damages, obviously we went through a lot in 2024, a couple of hurricanes. I suffered some roof damage as well. You know what I did? I called on my guy, John Franco, and his amazing team at Green Tech Roofing and Solar, the #1 roofing solution in Tampa Bay. They offer free inspections. They're locally owned, licensed, and trusted by the Tampa Bay community and have been for many, many years. They do residential, they do commercial, and depending upon the size of your home, Green Tech can have your roof completed in a single day, and they'll take care of all of that cleanup for you. You can get a free second opinion and quote by going to greentechroofing.com. That's greentechroofing.com. I love the way they just redid their website, so it's awesome. They'll give you examples, and you can see shots and images of homes that they have repaired, meaning their roofs, or replaced their roofs altogether. So check them out at greentechroofing.com. You can also schedule your free roof inspection.
Drive into Valvoline Instant Oil Change for an always quick but never rushed quality oil change. No appointment needed. Save $15 off your next oil change at VIOC.com. Valvoline Instant Oil Change. They'll get you back on the road in no time.
Now back to the Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his major league debut.
I'm gonna light your ass up, meat.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches. Boy, how can these guys lay off pitches that close?
Oh, my goodness. The legendary Bob Uecker, from his extraordinary role in Major League where he played the play-by-play man for the Cleveland Indians, Harry Doyle. Unfortunately, we lost Bob Uecker today at the age of 90, Hall of Famer. He earned the title Mr. Baseball for many, many years. He was a Brewers broadcaster for many, many years. He did a number of things in the community, was great in the entertainment field. Obviously, his role in Major League, achieved legendary status. I mean, he already was. You know, when I was growing up, he did all these light beer commercials and, I'm here in the front row. And he found himself, last row in the upper deck. Those are the Bob Uecker seats, so to speak. But he was a wonderful broadcaster, a great entertainer, brought people together, extraordinary role in Major League, in the Major League movie saga. And at the age of 90, unfortunately, we lost Bob Uecker today. And one of my fondest memories of Bob Uecker not only came from the movie Major League, in which he was awesome, legendary, very funny. We all know that. But as an old-style wrestling fan, back in the day, and wrestling in the 80s was like next-level great, right? The greatest WrestleMania was WrestleMania 3, without question. And, it's funny because I went back and I watched Mr. McMahon, the Netflix documentary. I actually was watching it last night. And one of the controversies from WrestleMania 3 was the fact that they thought it was 93,000 and it ended up being 78,000 or whatever it was in the 70s, not 93,000. But there was still a ton of people there. It was an incredible event. By far, I think the best WrestleMania ever because of the Macho Man, Ricky Steamboat match and Hogan against Andre, where Hogan slammed him and beat him. But my favorite WrestleMania moment came, I think it was the year after that, where they had Bob Uecker there. They had the tournament to determine who's going to be the champion, and Macho Man won when he beat Ted DiBiase in the final. But Hogan and Andre had this match in WrestleMania 4 where they were both disqualified for hitting each other with a chair and everything else. So they were both disqualified. They were both out of the tournament. And Bob Uecker was at that WrestleMania. He was one of the guest announcers, what have you. And one of my favorite WrestleMania moments ever was after that match. Bob Uecker's looking for Vanna White because he's got the hots for her and whatnot. And then Andre the Giant, the legend that is, walks into the frame, and it's just priceless. The banter between these two was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments ever. It sounded like this.
Hi again, everybody. This thing is really getting kind of serious now. I haven't been able to locate Vanna White, and I was supposed to... hi, Andre. Hey, my good buddy.
Vanna, you get me. You get the Giant, the only professional wrestler who's still undefeated. And Hulk Hogan, I'm proud to be it because now Ted DiBiase is on his way up. That's why he paid me to keep you out of the tournament, Hogan. And you are. And I know one thing, and that's why the people go to know too, and that's why they're going to remember. You are the ex-champion, Hogan.
Well, there you have it. I still haven't found
Here's the ex-champion. Don't worry about Vanna White. Now, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania is over.
Hey, how about getting your foot off my shoulder?
Hey!
Oh my God, I'm in tears. Every time I hear that or watch that, I'm in tears. And he's choking Bob Uecker at the end, and Uecker's making this face. And obviously it's all for show, because right after Andre chokes him, Andre's walking off, and you can see Andre like he starts to crack a little smirk as he's walking off away from Uecker. Oh my gosh. You know, those two, they could recreate that moment now beyond the pearly gates. Andre the Giant and Bob Uecker. Wow, what a moment. Bob Uecker dead at the age of 90. Sad day. All right, 1 hour down. We'll talk more about this coming up. Coming up, a big 4 o'clock hour. The Beat the Pro winner will be announced. We're going to get into that. We've got Let It Ride in the 5 o'clock hour, but on the way back, the Buccaneers season came to a disappointing end, and now an offseason of questions are cropping up. Is Liam Cohen staying or going? What about which free agents are staying or going? We'll talk to Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times at TampaBay.com. He will join me next.
To the Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive presented by my guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. TKras here. Chris Mathis there as well. And if you're looking for a new car in 2025, might we suggest the awesome sales force and service department and the people over at Moss Nissan, and they're awesome. They're going to do everything it takes to put you behind the wheel of a new or pre-owned vehicle. And if holiday hangovers or credit card debt has you down, don't worry. They've got the cure, right, Chris?
Yes, they do, Tampa Bay. No money down right now. Moss Nissan Plus, no payments due until the spring.
I bought my last two vehicles over at Moss Nissan because they're awesome. I'm a satisfied customer. And with every purchase, I also have Moss Care, which means lifetime oil changes and tire rotations for as long as you own the vehicle. That's beautiful.
And you get all of that, Tampa Bay, while also selecting from the largest Nissan inventory in our area.
So check them out. 3 locations, Tampa, Newport Richey, or Brooksville, or hit them up online at mossnissan.com.
Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bonus. That's BONUS. Enter it now. 953WDAE.com. Home of the best Bolts coverage. We are 95.3 W237CW Pinellas Park, WRUV HD3 Clearwater, and the mighty AM 620 WDAE St. Petersburg, an iHeart radio station. It's Thursday from Wesley Chapel to Fishhawk and all around Tampa Bay, plus worldwide on iHeartRadio.
The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
I mean, right now it absolutely sucks. So it's disappointing overall because I believe in this team. I believe we had the talent and the coaching staff and everybody around us to be able to go far. But looking back, trying to take a step back, big picture is this group fought. There was a lot of people that stepped up throughout the year. A ton of guys that stepped up into huge roles.
Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers unfortunately had their season come to an abrupt end against the Commanders last weekend. I agree with them. I thought they would be playing this weekend as well, but the season is indeed over. Now what? Welcome back, Tampa Bay. 4:07 on your ride home, hour number 2 of The Drive with yours truly, Tom Krasnicki. Presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls and texts coming up. Later on this hour, we'll reveal the winner of Beat the Pro. That is coming up as well. Let it ride in the 5 o'clock hour as well. Let's go to the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He covers the Bucs in the NFL for the Tampa Bay Times. You can read him at tampabay.com. Our good friend Rick Stroud is back with us here on a Thursday. Rick, how's it going, bud?
What's up, Tom? We got no game this weekend, man.
I know, man. There's not going to be an inside the locker room or countdown to kickoff. I'm bummed because I thought the Buccaneers were set up to have a nice little run. They can run it. They can stop the run. Big play quarterback, career year. I thought they had a lot of momentum. Unfortunately, it came to an end. Were you as surprised as I was that they're not playing this weekend, that they lost to Washington?
I don't know that surprised. I think anytime you get into the postseason, you're playing good teams, right? And so we've seen the Bucs on the other end of that, where they didn't have as good a record as, say, the Philadelphia Eagles, for example. But this is the postseason, and when you make mistakes, that's usually what determines who wins or loses, because you're not able to overcome them against good teams. And I felt like. Obviously Washington had a great game plan. Jaden Daniels was terrific. They couldn't get off the field on defense, and then only had the 7 possessions. But within that, you had a cataclysmic play on the jet sweep to McMillan, and that play right there, that coupled with not picking up a first down and having to settle for a field goal near the goal line, and those 2 offensive failures really cost you as well. So it's a team game. It's easy to point fingers. I know fans like to do that, but they just weren't on their game that day, and they let Washington dictate some things.
They sure did, and Jaden Daniels is special. 6 fourth-quarter comebacks as a rookie. I mean, he's going to go on to bigger and better things throughout the course of his career. And the other play, Rick, was Kalijah Kancey. I guess he thought it was flag football. He grabbed his towel and couldn't get him down. And look, these are young players, Jalen McMillan and Graham Barton with the premature snap, and Kalijah Kancey's a second-year guy. I mean, These are young, really, really good players, and they're going to learn from those mistakes.
Well, they will, and the thing is, you just don't know how many more chances you get, and that's the thing. And this team's been in the playoffs 5 straight years. Different quarterbacks, different players, obviously. But when you work so hard to get into the tournament, that's just really the start of it, right? And so you have to learn how to finish. But really, all year long, this team had a difficulty finishing games. We saw really 4 walk-off losses during the season, and many of those were self-inflicted. mistakes and things that happen to them. So, they have the makings of a good team. They certainly got to add to a lot of pieces on defense, I think, through free agency and the draft. But, when you've got the quarterback, their offense was terrific this year. They've got some really good young players on both sides of the ball, but particularly on offense. That's a great place to start. It's a great foundation. And look, only one team's going to be happy when this is all over. There's two really good teams playing this weekend, with Buffalo and the Ravens, and only one of them are going to advance. And, feel how those fan bases are going to feel, whether it's Baltimore or Buffalo that loses. So that's just the reality of the NFL, and the season ends really fast.
Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. You can read him at tampabay.com. And, Rick, you had a couple of stories about Todd Bowles, and you mentioned the finger pointing, and a lot of fans want to point fingers in his direction. I think he's safe for now, but next year, this team is going to need a deep playoff run or else. So where do you come with regards to Todd Bowles? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know about ultimatums and things like that. I mean, I think every year is different. I think Todd made it clear to his team that, the team that they had this year is not going to be the one they have next year. I mean, in the NFL, you might have sometimes as much as a third of your roster turns over, right? And so tell me how the year goes. I mean, if Baker Mayfield gets hurt in week 2, are we holding Todd Bowles responsible for not making the postseason or making a deep run? So, there's variables and factors to each year. But at some point, if you have sustained success, people are going to want you to go and win a Super Bowl. That's what this whole thing is about anyway. But I've always thought that, if you have a franchise that can consistently be in the hunt, win division titles, get to the postseason, that eventually you might break through. And, whether Todd is the coach that's going to be able to lift the Lombardi Trophy one day, I don't know. We're going to probably find that out. But, I do think that they've done a good job of transitioning. We talked about this, me and you have a lot about from the Tom Brady spendthrift eras, or spend a lot of eras to what, they are now, a very young football team. They re-signed their own free agents, and that was great. But, it's a different feel, a different vibe to this football team. There's a lot of youth on it, and that's good and bad. But, they've got to find a way to maximize these opportunities. When you get to the postseason, and me and you have been here around a long time, and we've gone years and years without them sniffing it, right? I think 12 straight seasons, they didn't make the postseason. 6 straight under Jason Light, if you can believe that. So when you go through those periods, then you need to, appreciate and take advantage of the times that you are in the tournament. And I think that's what they need to do. But it's hard to, no one has a crystal ball. And I know people are disappointed. It's always easy, to blame the head coach. And there's only one fan base that's going to be happy this year. And we hear a lot about Liam Cohen. I'm sure you'll ask me about him. But I think Todd Bowles has actually done a pretty good job of building the culture. Now, can we get on him for not being more aggressive at times, for mismanaging the clock, for not going for it more than he probably should in an era where, a lot of teams are going on 4th down. Certainly Washington did the other night. Those are all valid criticisms, and he says he wants to continue to grow as a coach. So let's see if he does that. But, for right now, I think overall they're in a pretty good place. And then we'll just have to see what happens with the offensive coordinator.
You just mentioned it. Leads me into my next question. Liam Cohen is getting some looks from other teams. He interviewed up in Jacksonville yesterday. I'm not sure if any other teams, Rick, are calling his phone. Maybe you can clue us in on that. But what are the chances that Liam Cohen sticks around for another year?
I think there's a good chance. I mean, look, he's got one interview that we know about. I would expect Tom Brady may want to talk to him with the Raiders, but that hasn't happened. There's a lot of talk about maybe Ben Johnson out there for whatever reason. I think some of these teams are going to wait and want to talk to the teams that are still in the playoffs, and that makes sense too. So we still got a little ways to go. The fact of the matter is that he's called plays in the NFL one season, and for anybody, whether it's Jacksonville or anybody else, it's a projection, about how Liam Cohen would be as a head coach. And I think he'll be a head coach in this league if he continues on the arc that he is right now. But he's 39 years old. And, he's going to have other opportunities, I think, to interview, and maybe better opportunities than the Jacksonville Jaguars. But it's hard to turn these jobs down, Tom. I mean, there's only 32 of them in the world, and that's heady stuff when they say, come on up here and be one of the NFL head coaches, and you've got Trevor Lawrence, and these guys are very confident in their abilities, and they think that they can win because they've been successful their whole careers. So I don't know what's going to happen up there. I know that they consider him a strong candidate, but I'm sure there's other strong candidates as well. But regardless of that, a year ago, I don't remember many people ringing me or hitting up my timeline saying we need to hire Liam Cohen from Kentucky.
Right.
And that's they're all lamenting the loss of Dave Canales and how are they going to get past the loss of Dave Canales? Well, there's a lot of great coaches in the National Football League. There really is. And continuity wins, and you'd love to have it for more than a year. And that's going to be between Liam if he gets an opportunity. But there'll be another coach that'll come in here. And with this talent, all I know is if I'm an offensive coordinator, and we've talked about this,
yep.
The last two guys that came in here got head coaching jobs. Man, I'm running to Tampa.
Absolutely.
I see the talent, and I see the situation down there, and I'm like, hey, I want to coach. Let me have these guys for a year, and I'll go be a head coach.
Hell yeah. I would love to have Tristan Wirfs and Luke Gedeke as my tackle combination and Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving because – and you just hit on it, and you and I talked about this last week. Okay, if Liam leaves, fans think it's going to be the end of the world. You've had two offensive coordinators in 2 years, go on to have head coaching jobs. There's going to be so many coaches that would love to come here and work with this talent, A, because it's a great, talent base on offense. B, it's a fast track to becoming a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, and I thought, John Ramon had a good column, and this notion that you can't lose an offense. I mean, look, when you have a defensive coach, a head coach that's on that side of the ball or not an offensive play caller, this is going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't win, right? Like, John Harbaugh doesn't call plays, right? Sean McDermott doesn't call the offensive plays. Belichick never did, And then sometimes when you go for the hot assistant, you end up with Arthur Blank or a Josh McDaniels. Okay, how did they do when they got to be head coach? It's a different job, and you're not just in there, game planning for one side of the ball. Your time is pulled in a million different directions, so you're not able to do the same job you did when you were the offensive coordinator. That now that you're the head coach and you got media and you've got 5 things that come across your desk every day. This player's mom is sick. This guy got in an accident. How high do you want the grass cut today? I mean, those are all real things that, pull their attention away from what they do best. So, it happens organically in this league. You're not going to stop it, but I think there's a pretty good chance that maybe Liam is back. And if he's not, I'm with you. I think that there's going to be lots of people that'll take this group and continue to win with them.
The Bucs have more than 20 free agents, Rick, and right at the top of the list, Chris Godwin, who was hurt midway through the season in the Ravens game. Levante David was in a locker room, emptying out his locker. You and I were there the other day. The chances that those two guys come back, I think both guys, believe it or not, will be back, but what's your gut feeling?
Well, I mean, we're getting closer to the end than the beginning, certainly for a guy like Levante David. And, he's kind of been year to year a little bit here for a while. He had an outstanding season statistically. He's not the player. He's the same age as right now. Well, he will be in a couple of weeks or next week. I think he'll be the same age as Derek Brooks as he was when he played his last football game. Think about that for a minute. So he's had a great career. I don't know, what his other, with his family obligations and all of that. I don't think he wants to play for another team. I think he'd like to, finish his career here. But that's something that probably won't be decided until much longer. You got to let these guys decompress and get away from the game and see if they still want to put themselves through what they have to in the off season. He works really hard to still maintain his level of play. With Chris Godwin, it's a little different because you're talking about an injury. Pretty severe injury, and we've seen him come back from that, so there's confidence that he will do that. But I do think that, a lot of times that comes down to, what is his opportunity outside of the Bucs? Is that injury going to prevent him from being a free agent? I think he'll be 29 years old. And so, he's already going to cost them some money on the salary cap if he doesn't play, because they had some voidable years. And so, if he does play, you can do some things with the contract and maybe mitigate some of that. But I think there's probably a chance for both of them, to be honest. So I think with Levante, it's going to be up to him. And with Chris, Todd Bowles says he'd love to have him back. And it's going to be a question of whether or not they can come to an agreement on how much money that is and what other opportunities he may want to take out there. But, man, he was playing great when he got hurt, and it's unfortunate. But can you imagine if you could get a Chris Godwin at the level he played this year, to go now with Jalen McMillan, who's, really matured and ended up having, I think, as many touchdowns or more touchdowns than anybody in the league the last 5 games. So that would be quite a group of 3 receivers to go with Mike.
You got that right. And if they can bring those guys back, I mean, good luck trying to defend those 3 wide receiver sets, whether Liam Cohen is here or not. And the Bucs don't have a whole lot of salary cap space, Rick. They've got the 19th pick. But I think Jason Light, and Jason Light and how he operates, he wants to take care of his own guys first before he looks outside of the building. But when he finally does look outside of the building, edge rusher. I think corner is absolutely a position of need. And look, Todd Bowles didn't say this publicly, but privately, he's got to be thinking, Jamel Dean, this is another guy like Carlton Davis. I can't rely on this guy. He's always hurt.
Yeah, they were very similar. I think Jamel was just a little less hurt than Carlton, and that's why Carlton was the guy that was traded. But, and it's unfortunate because he's a great kid and he's a good cover corner. Doesn't catch the ball very well, hasn't had many interceptions, that's for sure. So I think you always need to address that because, look, the problem they had this year is that they had no veteran experience behind them. They wanted Bryce Hall to be that backup. He got hurt in the first game. And so now you're taking, guys like Josh Hayes out there who's never played, and it doesn't work. And so you're going to have to find, some veterans at minimum to back up some guys. You may draft a corner in the first round. You don't know who you're going to get in the draft, but the combination of draft and free agency, I would agree they got to address that. And they got to find really a difference maker on defense, in terms of somebody. They got great players. I think Kalijah Kancey is going to be a really good player if he can play all 17 games. Vita Vea still got something left in the tank, obviously. I think Yaya Diaby is learning how to survive in this league with a lot of attention paid to him. But if you could find somebody else to go with him that rushes from the outside, but a difference maker, someone that can impact the game, that can wreck the game, that teams have to pay a lot of attention to. That's what they were lacking on this defense without Antoine Winfield Jr. being able to be healthy and not really playing well when he did. You just didn't have enough playmakers out there. Only 7 interceptions on the year. That's just not going to get it done. So they've got to find that guy or several of them. And if they do that, to go with the offense that they had and the number of points that they were able to score and then not hurt themselves. That's the other thing. This team, in critical crunch times, we committed too many penalties, too many self-inflicted mistakes. You've got to really play clean in this league, and particularly in the postseason, and you got to be aggressive, and you really got to come out and take those games. You can't sit back and let other teams dictate the tempo. I'd have rather seen them, if I were a Bucs fan, I'd have rather seen them get into a shootout and send the house on every play at Jaden Daniels than die slow. You had a choice. You can die a slow death or a quick one, and I think it would be better to die a quick one and just run up and down the field with them. But that's not how it went, and I think, Bowles and them will learn from that. But the biggest thing is get your guys healthy and add to a pretty good group already, and particularly try to improve the defensive side to go with what you already got on the offensive side.
Or if they can do that, they can play with anybody. They can beat anybody. All right, I'll get you out on this, and I'm trying to find out why this didn't occur. Mm-hmm. To my recollection, Rick, and you were at the stadium, there was no duck in the building. Nobody brought in a duck from what I saw. Did you see any ducks? Because the luck of the duck, no duck, no luck, no wolf, no part. What happened?
I don't know, man. I thought I saw Ryan Jensen with a duck. Was I wrong about that?
That was 2 weeks ago, I think. That was the Saints game.
They didn't. Oh, so there was no playoff duck. Well, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, that's a mistake, and I don't think they can let that happen again. You need a mallard for the situation, and you know, our friend Anchor that captured the duck needs to go reacquaint himself over there at the park or where you let him go and see if he can't bring that thing back in the stadium, because that was a seminal moment, obviously, of the season, and I think they lost some of that duck power. I'm with you, man. I'm all about signs and omens and things like that. So maybe that might have been the difference. I don't know, but they certainly needed something. They needed one more stop or one more touchdown, and they'd have had it, but it wasn't to be this year. So they start back down at the mountain. You know what? 31 other teams are doing that too. Actually, all 32 will, but it's a long season. It's a marathon, and it ends abruptly for everybody. But I still think they had some great moments, and they got a lot to be proud of. But you know, everybody kind of feels this way when it's over, and let's see if they can push it further next season. I'm looking forward to it. I think whatever happens will be interesting. I think they'll be in the fight.
I agree. You can read him, Tampa Bay Times and at TampaBay.com. He's Rick Stroud. Follow him at NFL Stroud on X. Rick, I appreciate it as always, my man. We will talk soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. See you, Tom.
See ya. That's Rick Stroud. Listen, the luck of the duck. There was no duck there. We had a duck. We had a chance. Maybe the duck could have been an edge rusher. I don't know. Could have put more pressure on the quarterback than some of the guys they already have. Or maybe he can cover Terry McLaurin a little bit better. Come on. 888-546-4620. The Beat the Pro or Beat the Amateur, whatever you want to call it. That winner, we're going to announce it soon. On the way back, breaking news from the Rays. If you're planning on attending a game at Steinbrenner Field, you better listen up. We got some news on that coming up next here on The Drive.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
We're talking with Rick Stroud, the college football national championship game on Monday night. I'm going to put some action on that with a parlay and the NFL playoff games this weekend, too. Check, check, and check. And you can do it through the Hard Rock Bet app, Florida's legal sports book. I'll be all over that this weekend. National championship game is on Monday night. You can grab a big profit boost, too, for the game on the Hard Rock Bet app. You can do the same thing with the NFL, as the Hard Rock Bet has all the action for the pro football playoffs, as well as you can bet on the divisional round games, of course, the conference championship games, and then the big game that's coming up as well. And don't forget, when you sign up for the Hard Rock Bet app, download it right now on your smartphone at the App Store. If you miss out on a bet up to $100, then you can try again. You'll get your bet back at the Hard Rock Bet app. So check it out. I'll be all over it this weekend, as should you. You can be a big winner through the Hard Rock Bet app. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-800.
From the Cool Today Weather Center, cooltoday.com.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
Cloudy, chance of a shower this afternoon, high 63 degrees. Cold and cloudy tonight, low 48 degrees. Friday, partly sunny, high 68, low 57. Saturday's cloudy and breezy, high 74. Get weather info around the clock by searching News Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Amy Snyder.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Cruise control activated. This is The Drive with TKras, courtesy of Moss Nissan, live on WDAE.
He's a bum.
All right, welcome back. 4:36 on your ride home on Unleaded Ride Thursday. It's Thursday. We're almost there, almost at the end of the week. Yours truly here, Chris Mathis on the other side. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we're going to announce our winner for the Beat the Pro contest. And it's an extraordinary grand prize. A lot of you were competing against yours truly. We picked some games against the spread throughout the course of the season. Those who tied or beat me qualify for the grand prize. A beautiful 5-night stay at the Buccaneer Resort down in St. Croix. One winner will get it. And we'll announce that winner coming up in a matter of moments. All right. Breaking news with the Rays. I don't know if we have any breaking news sounders or we just have an
We got a
Kevin Cash wants to know. The Rays have announced their game times for their home games over at Steinbrenner Field. So to begin the season, games played in April and May, the Rays will play most weeknight games starting at 7:05. Remember, they were playing like 6:40 games. So most of the weeknight games will start at 7:05. Saturday games at 4:10. That's usual. And Sundays at 1:40. That was the usual time as well for the Trop. And then starting in June, when rainy season kicks in and the kids are out of school, those weeknight games will start at 7:35. And weekend start times are going to vary. And if you want to see the full schedule, RaysBaseball.com/schedule. Now, the gates will open 90 minutes prior to the first pitch at Steinbrenner Field. Parking lots will open 3 hours before the first pitch. And parking is going to be available at a later date. RaysBaseball.com, yada, yada, yada. You get updates there. So there you have it. So for the first couple of months, those weeknight games will start at 7:05. And then we get into rainy season. Once school lets out, they're going to start them a little bit later during the weeknights at 7:35. Mark Topkin, who has been covering the Rays since they first started at Tampa Bay.
You just said that. I started
write it down, Kevin Cash, because actually this is good for you because you live on the Tampa side, and it's a shorter drive for you to go down to Steinbrenner Field to play these games. I think Kevin Cash is probably happy. Too bad he doesn't have any offense.
Even though you everything we do.
Oh, come on. What?
You insulted him a little bit.
I insult anybody. I'm just saying, look, you don't have any offense. And Mark Topkin, by the way, had the story at TampaBay.com that Hurricane Milton may have cost the Rays a shot at signing prize Japanese pitcher Roki Sasaki-san. So that's a guy that a lot of teams are after. Apparently, his finalists are the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, and the Padres. I mean, two of those teams are left coast teams. I think that's probably where he's going to end up. Watch this guy go to the Dodgers and piss everybody off. Yeah, that would be awful. But apparently they had some good conversations with Sasaki and his agent. And, supposedly Roki-san was, not too enamored with the Trop and where the Rays were playing. You're playing in a minor league ballpark. Okay, forget about you guys. I think I'm going to go somewhere else where they actually play in a major league ballpark. And look, that's not the Rays' fault. It's just circumstance. It was an act of God. 2 hurricanes and Hurricane Milton. So I'm not sure if I buy this. I don't think he was ever coming here anyways. But, in Mark's article, he mentioned the fact that Sasaki's representation, they were looking for a team that can develop pitchers. And the Rays certainly do that. Almost as good, if not better than anybody. So he liked that. But the fact that they're in Steinbrenner Field, maybe that did turn him off. But my feeling is this. I don't think he was coming here to begin with. This guy is highly sought after by a lot of different major league teams. Let's go to our phones. Todd in Tampa. What's going on, man?
Buddy, I'm trying to recover from that debacle we had Sunday night. Which, let me tell the team something. We had no business losing that game. Zero business losing that. We gave them first and goal at the 1. They couldn't score. We gave them 4 downs inside the 3. They couldn't score. Then on a hand, we shouldn't even call that hand. That handoff is down there on their goal line, not on our 12-yard line, coming around the end. And then we fumble the mesh, and we give it up right there at the 13. It took them 4 downs to get it. What do you want to do? You want us to play goal line all day long? It's a joke. And then let me say this to the offense, okay? Because I'm not blaming the defense. I'm blaming the offense, okay? And they have no business here. On the 12-yard line, when Cohen calls something, you say, we're going to run this, we're going to run that, and then Kate Austin jumps off, false start. You say, no, we'll forget about that. Mike, what do you want? I want to go post corner, but do you want to go slant and pick up the 5 yards like Kate wasn't paying attention to and got a false start on? Is that what you want to do? Because you might score. Or do you want me to go drop this in the back corner for a touchdown and go up 24-13 and end this clown and win this game? Okay? And if I was a head coach, I would have resigned. If I would have lost that game and you owned the team, I would have resigned because I'm ashamed of myself. I had no business losing them. And going to Philly is where Rondé Barber closed out the vet and took it to the house. So don't tell me we can't play with Philly because we can shut Jalen Hurts down. So while you're watching the playoffs, and the only guy that popped any champagne was Mahomes. He told his wife, go pop some champagne. As long as I ain't got to see the Buccaneers, I know I can win it all. Go. Disgrace.
Thanks for the... So in your mind, Todd, when Patrick Mahomes saw the Bucs being eliminated, he popped champagne thinking he's going to three-peat, and he's so relieved that the Buccaneers are the only team that can end your quest for a three-peat. Is that what you're telling me? You think Patrick Mahomes is staying up late at night thinking, oh, gosh, I hope the Bucs don't make it to the Super Bowl. I hope we get there, but I don't want to face freaking Jamel Dean.
Yeah, you can say that.
Are you kidding me? Nobody is afraid of the Bucs defense right now. Nobody. And that's what the Bucs have to do. They got to go find a guy that will strike fear in the hearts of offensive coordinators and quarterbacks alike. Patrick Mahomes is not afraid of Anthony Nelson. Give me a break. Come on. I love the passion and the energy, but,
Bryce, you don't have to see me.
Listen, and I love you, Kalijah Cansey. I think you're turning into a really good player. I think you need a little more help off the edge, along with your guy Yaya. But Kalijah had a chance to make a big play, and he grabbed Jalen Daniels' towel and nothing else. All right, more of your calls and texts coming up. And when we come back, stand by, Beat the Pro. We've been doing this contest all football season long. We've got a winner, and that winner will be announced coming up next year on The Drive. Don't move.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Ladies and gentlemen, be careful on your Thursday ride home because an injury accident can occur at any time. Let me tell you, every day I'm driving, I see these lunatic drivers. And when I'm driving home at night, I see idiots who don't even have their lights on. I just don't understand that. There's a little knob inside of your car. Put it on auto, you jerks, and leave it there. That's how accidents happen, because people don't see you. You have your lights off or your blinkers, your rear blinkers. That's the other thing I see. You cops out there, I got a lot of respect for you. You need to be driving around because I see these dummies all the time. They are a hazard. They are a menace to society. People who drive around with no lights on, with their rear lights partially working. I got into an injury accident, and I can tell you it wasn't my fault, and that's all I'll say about that because my guys over at Catania, they're on it. They're on the case. They've been on the case for me the last several months. They've been looking out for you, Tampa Bay, for the last 30 years. They work on a contingency, which means there's no cost to you unless they win, and they've done plenty of winning over the years. Almost $1 billion with a B has been successfully recovered by my guys for injury victims just like you. So protect your rights and protecting mine. Catania and Catania is where it's at. Get a free evaluation of your case at 813-222-8545 or online at CataniaandCatania.com. That number again, 813-222-8545. Catania.
Report is sponsored by Staples Stores.
Cloudy and cold tonight, low 49 degrees. Friday forecast, partly sunny and cool, high 67, low 57. Saturday, cloudy, breezy, high 73 with storms at night. Get weather info around the clock by searching News Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Amy Snyder.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusion supply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
Injured? Hire America's largest injury firm, Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The Drive is live with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. 4:52 on your ride home. It is time. We've done Beat the Pro throughout the year. Me against various contestants. And if they tied or beat me, we picked NFL games against the spread every week. Then they qualified for the grand prize. And the grand prize is this: a 5-night stay in an oceanfront suite, airfare, food, a free round of golf included at the beautiful Buccaneer Resort down in St. Croix. For more information, hit them up at thebuccaneer.com. And right now, we are calling the winner. The winner doesn't know that we're calling him. We're doing it right here, right now. All right.
I'm hitting the buttons right now, Tom. Ready?
Do it. Hurry up.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
All right, it's ringing. All right. Hope he picks up. He might not recognize the number.
Yeah. Hello?
Hi, is this Justin?
This is.
Justin, hey, it's TKras, Tom Krasnicki from The Drive, WDAE. We're live on the air. How are you, man?
Well, I'm standing here with quoting a job, and my car's alternator went out, so I'm standing here with AAA. So, but I have a.
Oh,
Dude, it's
man.
okay. It's
Listen,
life, man. You know?
I'm sorry about your alternator in your car, but, Justin, I do have some great news for you.
Yeah.
Justin, you were the grand prize winner. You were the grand prize winner,
dude.
Justin.
Dude, this is crazy, man.
You are going to the Buccaneer Resort in St. Croix for a 5-night stay.
I'm staying here with the AAA guy. I just won a contest to go to St. Croix. So we have one bad thing turns into a good thing, right? Right here. We were just talking about this, dude.
Are you serious? You were talking about it with the AAA guy?
I was talking about this, and we were just talking about being good-natured and just doing the right thing and paying it forward, and good things happen if, don't think about the short dollar, think about the long dollar, and take care of your people and things like that. We're having this kind of pleasant conversation, and then you calling me with this best news that I've been waiting for months to hear.
Well,
I'm on the radio right now, man. This is not a joke. Yeah.
Yes.
This is awesome, man.
Well, Justin,
I could care less about anything right now. This is great.
Listen, this is what you're getting, Justin. A 5-night stay in an oceanfront suite. It includes airfare, food. If you play golf, it's a free round of golf, courtesy of us here at WDAE and the Buccaneer Resort in St. Croix. For more information, hit them up at thebuccaneer.com. You're going, my man.
That's so amazing, and I am so elated. And this AAA guy was going to get a good tip, but his tip just went up significantly.
That is great. So, who are you taking with you?
I'm gonna take my girlfriend.
Oh, that's great. She's going to be very, very impressed, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. She's been asking me almost on a weekly basis, are they going to announce it? I'm like, at the end of the season, baby, at the end of the season. And then she's like, it's the end of the season. I'm like, no, they're going to do the playoffs now. And she's like, babe, you gotta ride the suspense train, man. This is what makes it worth it.
Yes, and it is worth it now, isn't it?
Oh, hands down, man. I mean, this is, I went through the storm with Helene and rebuilding my life. A lot of other people, I'm just rebuilding and trucking and working as hard as I can to get everything back. Like a lot of other people, and I tell you what, man, this will be a vacation well deserved and well spent, and I'm going to enjoy every second of this. And thank you guys very, very much.
Well, congratulations, man. You've got a great perspective on life. You do deserve it. I want you and your girlfriend to have a great time, courtesy of yours truly here in WDAE and the Buccaneer Resort down in St. Croix. Congratulations, Justin. Somebody from our promotions department will follow up with you to get everything set up, okay?
Okay, TKras, thanks again, man. I appreciate you guys.
We appreciate you.
Oh, could I say something real quick?
Sure.
I know that the Pat and Aaron show, they have the Hall of Guys. All of you are in my Hall of Guys. That's what I want to say. Everybody at WDEA.
We appreciate it, man. And you're a Hall of Famer as well in our hearts, too. Thanks, Justin. Congrats, buddy.
Thanks, TKras.
You got it. All right, that's Justin Oppenheimer, the winner of our Beat the Pro contest. That's unbelievable.
What a story.
So we just called him. So, I told our promotions department, they gave me the name of the winner. I'm like, we're going to call him live on the air. And Justin is stalled on the side of the road. His alternator died. So unbelievable timing.
And then he's sitting there with the guy from AAA. I'm on the radio right now. What? Really? No way.
That's great.
And then he's going to pay it forward. Like he's getting an awesome trip, but now he's going to give a really nice, healthy tip to the AAA gentleman as well. That is awesome. And doing good things does pay off for sure.
It does, man. You pay things forward. You do good things in life, and you lead a good life. You're kind to people. I'm telling you, it's the circle. That thing will come back around to you. If you're a jerk, you treat people with disrespect, that will also come around. It's called karma. So congrats, Justin. I'm sure he's calling his girlfriend right now, and she's going to be elated. The Buccaneer Resort down in St. Croix, thebuccaneer.com. Hit him up. It is a beautiful, beautiful resort. Congratulations, Justin. We hope you have a blast, buddy. 888-546-4620. Your calls and texts are coming up. 2 hours down, 2 more hours to go. Coming up, your next opportunity to win $1,000. Who could use $1,000? Maybe you can go on a trip of your own. If you missed out on Beat the Pro and our grand prize, some of you, I feel for you. Hey, stand by. You can win something else. You can win $1,000 in a matter of moments. The nationwide keyword will be revealed. When you hear it, you go over our website, you insert that keyword at 953wda.com, and you'll be in the running. You can't win if you don't play. So your next opportunity to win $1,000 is coming up. Also coming up on the other side, the Buccaneers not playing this weekend. What can they learn from the games that will take place this weekend that will make them even better for 2025? That plus some late-breaking news on the NFL side of it next here on The Drive.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
I love giving great news to great people, so that was just awesome. You know who else is awesome? Steve and Julie Weintraub over at the Gold and Diamond Source, guys, where you can kick off the new year by impressing her. You want to impress her, you could take her on a trip like what Justin's doing. If you also want to impress your better half, you can impress them with a timeless diamond from the Gold and Diamond Source. And if you're ready to pop that big question, my guy Chris Mathis did, head on over to the Gold and Diamond Source. You will find the perfect engagement ring at the Gold and Diamond Source. So Chris Mathis got engaged. He got his engagement ring at the Gold and Diamond Source. He proposed to his lovely fiancée now, Lily. He showed her the ring, and she said, "Oh, my God, this is awesome. You certainly know a way to a girl's heart." Yes, I say yes. So he did it the right way. That's the way you should do it as well. Make her January birthday or her 2nd and 6th wedding anniversaries unforgettable with up to 15% off garnet. That is the January birthstone at the Golden Diamond Source. So while you're there, guys, discover Emilique. What is it? It's created by Emily Johnson Weintraub, who's an awesome person, by the way. It's a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. Very attractive pieces there. And, guys, you can turn old, unused gold into cold, hard cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. So remember to make sure it's a Golden Diamond Source diamond to kick off the new year.
'cause you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Obviously, I mean, you start the season off with setting your goals as a team, and you start with the division, and we did that, and we had the battle to do it. So that's one thing to be proud of. But like I said earlier, it's disappointing because I really believed in this team. I still do, but obviously every year is different. The roster's going to look different, so that's the sad part about it.
Baker Mayfield extremely disappointed that his Buccaneers season is over with. They won't be playing this weekend. I really feel like they should be playing. They felt like they should be playing, but the Commanders knocked them out. It's the Commanders who move on. They'll go to Detroit this weekend. Meanwhile, Philadelphia will be hosting the Rams in the other NFC divisional playoff game, and two intriguing games in the AFC. One on Saturday, not so much. Houston at Kansas City. And then you have an incredible game on Sunday night with Baltimore and Lamar Jackson going to Buffalo and Josh Allen. What a game that's going to be. One of those teams will not make it to the AFC Championship game. Both teams have Super Bowl aspirations, and it's a shame one of them will be going home late Sunday night. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 5:06 on your ride home. The Drive with yours truly, TKras, Tom Krasnicki, presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls on the way at 888-546-4620. That's the phone number. Later on at the bottom of the hour, let it ride. We'll be putting some bets down on the Lightning Ducks game at Amalie tonight. There should have been a duck at the Buccaneer game over the weekend. The luck of the duck ran out because there was no duck in the building. Not that I know of. How could nobody bring a duck into the building? That's why our luck ran out. The luck of the duck. No duck, no luck. No wolf, no part. What do you think? And there's a lot that the Buccaneers can learn from watching this weekend. And look, they certainly had the recipe, I thought. The Bucs ran the ball as well as anybody. They stopped the run as well as anybody. Playmaking quarterback, great leadership ability. Look, their defense had a couple of guys that were emerging. You know, Vita Vea was dominant. Kalijah Kancey was emerging. You know, Yaya Diaby was pretty good over the last couple of weeks, but not nearly enough. And when you watch your games this weekend, you're going to see teams put, elite defensive players out there. Guys who can close games out in the fourth quarter when they have to. It wouldn't surprise me to see Chris Jones doing something very similar Saturday against Houston's very vulnerable offensive line in that Chiefs-Texans game on Saturday. Philadelphia's got Jalen Carter. He's an emerging stud. The Rams got Jared Verse. He's an emerging stud. The Bucs don't have that guy. Yaya is a good player. I think you would benefit by having somebody on the other side of him who can really strike fear into the hearts of opposing quarterbacks and offensive coordinators. I don't think the Bucs have that guy. And I think the Bucs need a corner. Those are the top two needs, in my opinion. You want to talk about linebacker? You can certainly do that. I think Servassier Dennis returning will be a boost. And I do believe Levante David will be back as well. So that might lessen the need. They may draft an inside linebacker at some point. But edge rusher, corner, 1 and 1A is what the Bucs need. And look, with the 19th pick, I'm not sure who's going to be available. I saw James Pierce declare for the draft, the Tennessee edge defender. That guy's dynamic. Like, if he falls to them at 19, I think he would be ideal. But there's no guarantee between now and the draft. I mean, there's so much that can happen. Could there be a veteran? I suppose there could be a guy that you can pick up. Some people talking about maybe Khalil Mack or somebody. Good pass rushers don't usually get shown the door by their prospective teams, by their current teams. So there must be a reason why a guy gets the free agency. So just keep that in mind, too. But I think what Jason Light has done and will continue to do, he's always going to prioritize his own guys. The Bucs have more than 20 unrestricted free agents. And I can tell you, most of them probably will not return. But I think Jason Light and the Bucs and Todd Bowles, he's in on that discussion too, they will prioritize a handful of guys that they absolutely need to have back. One guy's Chris Godwin, who made $20 million last year, and really in a strange and profound way, the devastating ankle injury that he suffered was actually a good thing for the Buccaneers, believe it or not, because Chris Godwin was having his best year of his career. Had he not been injured and he continued to play that thing out, I don't think there's any way the Buccaneers would be able to afford him unless you put the franchise tag on him. But that ankle injury might open the door for the Buccaneers to bring him back on a one-year deal filled with some incentives. I talked about this the other day. I think that's entirely possible. And I think Chris Godwin loves Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay loves him too. He and his wife just gave birth to a new child, so congratulations to the Godwin family. And we know how close he is to Mike Evans. So, listen, if you put Chris Godwin back on this team on a one-year deal, and you have Mike Evans and you have Jalen McMillan, man, oh man, you want to talk about a fearsome threesome, that would be extremely tough for any defense to deal with next year, whether Liam Cohen is the offensive coordinator or not. And Liam had the interview yesterday in Jacksonville. We had Rick Stroud on earlier in the show. We talked about Liam Cohen and his job prospects. And in case you missed that, we're going to run that back coming up at 6:05 in the next hour. But to our knowledge, nobody else has stepped forward in wanting to interview Liam Cohen, who's 39 years old, 1 year as an offensive coordinator. Look, that 1 year yielded great results. Just think about what this Buccaneer offense could do in 2025 if Liam Cohen returns, if Chris Godwin is back with this team and healthy. Look out. Because they would put up 30 points per game like that. And they may have to put up 30 points per game like that, considering the defense and the position that they're in. And look, on the defensive side, it's not going to be a quick fix. But the first thing that has to happen on that side of the ball is Antoine Winfield Jr. has got to be healthy. He's got to be healthy for 16, 17 games. If that dude is healthy, yeah, he's a difference maker. And then, look, you got to find another corner. Whether you draft a guy to complement or compete with Jamel Dean, or if you don't think Jamel Dean is reliable enough, and he certainly hasn't shown it since he's been in the league, honestly, if you move off of Jamel Dean, then you're going out and you're signing a veteran somewhere and maybe even drafting a guy. But if you move Dean, then you need to sign an experienced guy in free agency to go opposite of Zion McCollum. And look, DJ Reed, the reason why I'm bringing up DJ Reed is I think he will make it to free agency, and I think he's a guy who's been in this league for a while, who's a good corner. The Jets will let him walk because they're stupid, let's be honest. Plus, they have to think about signing Sauce Gardner, and they're going to invest a lot of money into locking him up at some point, and they're not going to be able to pay DJ Reed, $12, $13 million a year, whatever it might cost to keep him around. And look, that's what it's going to cost. You guys want a veteran? You guys want to dive into free agency inside this guy or that guy, whether it's DJ Reed or some of you mentioned Shavarius Ward? Shavarius Ward is going to cost you even more money than that. He's a better player. And there are teams out there with loads of cap space who are waiting to pounce on that guy. The Washington Commandos, they're into the divisional round, but don't forget, they've got a rookie quarterback in Jaden Daniels on a rookie quarterback contract, which means they're going to be able to go out this offseason and build around them. And I think they're going to be exposed on the back end this weekend. Who's to say that the Commandos don't go out and throw a boatload of money at Charvarius Ward? Because right now, they have close to $90 million in cap space projected for 2025. And that's how you win in the NFL. If you find a really great quarterback, like the Commandos do, they're way ahead of the game. They've got a guy who's special. And before you have to pay him, and oh gosh, I can't even imagine, like when his contract is up, he might be looking at $70 to $75 million a year. I kid you not. Some of you are probably going to drive off the road and you're going to call me crazy. I'm not crazy, okay? I see the trend. I see where the quarterback salaries are going. Right now, Dak Prescott makes $60. By the time Jaden Daniels in 3 years comes around to him, that number is going to go up and up and up. By the time the Commanders sit down with Jaden Daniels as representatives in 3 years and talk about a mega extension for him, it's going to be $70 to $75 million a year, without question. And before they do, I'm not trying to stir anything up, Baker. Before they do that, though, they're going to load up around him, which means they can go out and be big spenders in free agency. And I expect the Commandos, and you're going to see this weekend, they're going to get lit up by Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta down the middle of the field. Dan Quinn's going to be like, we got to go out and get a corner after Detroit just put up 40 points on us. Let's go out and get a Charvarius Ward or somebody of that ilk. The Chargers going to have a lot of cap space. The Cardinals going to have a lot of cap space. The Vikings have quite a bit of cap space. So do the Bears going into... The Lions got quite a bit of cap space, too. My goodness, $57 million plus projected. So they are sitting pretty right now. But if you're the Lions, and I'll talk more about this really in depth tomorrow on a Football Friday when we preview these matchups. If you're the Lions, that window, even though you got a lot of good young players, your window, listen to me, Lions fans, Nick Wise, who's, I don't know if he's even here. I don't see him. Did he go home? He's listening.
I don't think he went home yet.
Nick Wise and the rest of you Lions fans, you better listen, okay? You see the window of opportunity? It's shrinking. You want to know why? You better win it this year. Because you won't have Ben Johnson and you won't have Aaron Glenn. Those two guys are getting head coaching jobs. If I had to project, Ben Johnson's probably going to Chicago or somewhere else. He might go to Jacksonville. He interviewed there. Jaguars interviewed a number of other people, including Liam Cohen, who interviewed there yesterday. But you're losing Ben Johnson and you're losing Aaron Glenn. You're going to take a step back. Yes, you've got great talent, but without those two guys orchestrating the offense and defense, yeah, you're taking a step back next year if you're Detroit. So if you're the Lions, you've never been to a Super Bowl, you better get there this year. And you better strike while the iron's hot because next year they're probably going to lose free agents, and more importantly, they're going to lose Ben Johnson and they're going to lose Aaron Glenn. 888-546-4620. And a lot of Bucs fans are wondering about Liam Cohen. And we talked to Rick Stroud. You're going to hear that conversation coming up at 6 o'clock. And look, the Jaguars like him. I don't know how the interview went. We don't have any idea. But when you know how innovative and creative Liam Cohen is, and when we talk to players, and I talked to Kate Otten on Monday as he was cleaning out his locker, and he had incredible things to say about Liam in terms of how energetic he is, how enjoyable it was to come to work every day, about how detail-oriented he was. So I have no doubt that Liam Cohen went in there yesterday and he knocked their socks off in that interview. That would not surprise me one bit. Now, the Jaguars are looking at a number of other people, and you Bucs fans who are so panicky about losing Liam Cohen, just relax, man.
You referenced that Kate Otten audio on Liam Cohen. I got that right now.
Yeah, he was, first of all, he is just really personable and really cared about us as individuals. And then just the detail and passion he brought every single day to our offense was just something really cool to be a part of. And I think you saw it come to life throughout the season. And so just really fun to play for him.
By the way, Kadon, great dude. Chris Mathis, he's got a Chris Mathis type of mustache working for him.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
I think I did notice that, but you know what? Guy's also a baller as well. So what does that tell you, Tom?
He's a baller, great guy to talk to.
Got
and
the
look,
Mathis mustache.
He's got the Mathis mustache thing going on there.
Okay, so I'm ascending, hopefully. Because we knew that guy. We knew that guy was pretty good, but he proved that he's actually a pass catcher this year.
He can catch, and he's a willing blocker in the run game. He's not as good as some of his other cohorts like Payne Durham. Keefe is just a monster, and Devin Culp. You're 4 deep at the tight end position if you're the Bucs. That's a deep position now. That's good moving forward.
Coming into this year, Tom, that was one of the biggest positions of concern for me. Aside from pass rusher or defensive back, I thought tight end was low on the totem pole too.
It was, but now you've got guys that you can lean on now. Now you're 4 deep at that position. That's awesome. I don't know how many teams can look at their tight ends and say, we got 4 guys. Nope.
Atlanta can't even say they have 1 guy.
Well, they got one guy. They just don't know how to use him. They got a quarterback who forgot to throw the ball or knew how to throw the ball, like down the stretch. Things could always be worse, Bucs fans. You could be the Falcons. You could be the Falcons. Do you know what they're talking about up there? How they choked away the NFC South lead? After 9 weeks, they were 6-3. The Buccaneers were drowning at 4-6. They had beaten the Buccaneers twice, and they lost the division. Lost it.
And I know some fans up there that are off on Raheem Morris already.
Well, because the game against the Commanders, we all like to bust on Todd Bowles about how to use timeouts and when to use timeouts. Raheem Morris, in the most critical point of their season, had 2 timeouts at his disposal. That last drive of regulation going down the field, that Sunday night game at Washington, and he absolutely fudged it up.
Okay, I'm going to say this.
I'm going to say this one time.
No, Todd, we're not talking about you this time.
We're not talking about you and your inability to call a timeout when it matters. We're talking about Raheem Morris. Maybe he learned it from you. I don't know. Oh, come on. That's not.
No. You insulted him a little
I did.
bit.
That was a little insulting. But Todd's got to get better. And we talked to Greg Auman the other day. He's got a guy that helps him. Well, that guy should be fired too. He's got a guy that helps him with timeouts. You're fired. Get somebody else in here. Jeez. Put it over there with the others, greaseball.
Yeah, I was shocked to hear that. And he hinted at it 2 or 3 different times during that interview earlier this week. I was like, what?
I'm dumbfounded. They're like, are you kidding me? Then that guy's not doing his job. Get somebody else. But Raheem Morris should have called that timeout after that completion of Darnell Mooney up to the 45-yard line. Boom, timeout, because they had 2 timeouts. You call a timeout there, you're at the 45-yard line with 33 seconds left. And another timeout at your disposal. I have no doubt Penix was on a heater there, that they were going to get in field goal range. And look, they kicked that field goal with Riley Patterson or whatever his name is. I don't even know if the Buccaneers are in the playoffs to begin with. Who knows? But thankfully, the Falcons do Falcons things. The Buccaneers made it. I thought they would beat the Commandos. They didn't. I think the Buccaneers should be playing this weekend. They're not. Why wasn't there a duck in the building on Sunday night? I have no idea. And nobody has been able to give me a straight answer. All right, coming up, there are Ducks here. They're down at Amalie tonight. They're taking on our Tampa Bay Lightning. Braden Point, is he there or is he? I don't know. Did he skip out on this one?
No.
What?
You insulted him a little bit.
Blackjack Braden Point and the Lightning taking on the Ducks. Can the Lightning get off to a better start tonight and rebound? we're going to play some bets on a couple of different things in regards to the Lightning, in regards to the college football national championship game, the NFL divisional playoffs. Let it ride. Coming up next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
Guys, whether it's an injury, accident, product liability, or medical malpractice, if you've been wronged as a result of somebody else's negligence, you got to do what I did. You got to call on my guys over at Catania & Catania, the personal injury law firm that's been protecting your rights here in Tampa Bay for the last 30 years. They don't get paid unless you get paid, but they've been getting a lot of money for their clients over the years. They're experienced, they're tough, they're personable, they're also highly successful. Almost $1 billion has been recovered over the years for injury victims just like you. So do what I did. Protect your right to protecting mine. Give them a call. 813-222-8545. That's 813-222-8545. Or get a free evaluation of your case online.
the pot whenever the heck I please.
Good luck, sir.
Yeah, give me 5 times a piece on St. Louis, Minnesota, and Baltimore.
Let it ride on 13.
Carmine's not here? He's gone? Yeah, I think he went across the street or somewhere else. I don't know. Nah, they forgot to sign their papers. No. They don't need those no more. All right, here we go. Time to place some bets on some action that's taking place. It is Let It Ride here on the program. We are so delighted to have you with us here on The Drive, and it's presented by my guy, Dr. Jim DeRespino, the great people over at the Center for Men's Health, C4MH.com. Come on, give me another marker. Here's our pit boss, Chris Mathis.
All right, let's get right to it. The Ducks are back in Tampa Bay. That's right, multiple Ducks. Take on your Lightning tonight, 7 o'clock face-off. Tampa Bay, a 1.5 goal favorite at home. The over-under is 6 goals.
Listen, the Lightning are bouncing back tonight. What happened the other night in Boston was a farce. They got off to another bad start. Braden Point misses a meeting, gets benched. He's going to come out tonight with a vengeance. I bet you he scores. He scores. He makes amends with his teammates, with Coach Cooper, and I think the Lightning win going away tonight. They get off to a better start, and that's been their issue, is coming out of the gates, starting fast. They're at home. I think they'll have that fast start.
Let's hope so. We'll continue now with Anthony Cirelli, over under 0.5 goal for him.
I like Cirelli. I think he's very useful, obviously. He plays all facets of the game well. You know, even strength. He's great, obviously, in the penalty kill, as well as you sprinkle him in on the power play. I don't think he scores tonight. I will go under on the 0.5 goal part.
All right, Nikita Kucherov, over under 3.5 shots on goal.
He's not a big shooter, Chris Mathis. He is more of a facilitator, but, I think I'm still going under 3.5 shots.
I was hoping to pull you there and get you to say over. How about this over under 1.5 points for Brandon Hagel?
Over. I think Brandon Hagel's been really good this year as a facilitator, as a goal scorer, setting guys up. I like him to get off tonight as well, so I will go over. I think he gets 2 points.
Really big game on Monday night. It's the national championship between Ohio State and Notre Dame. We had a great conversation earlier in the program with Barrett Sallee. It's up there on the free iHeartRadio app. He had a hot take, too, regarding the matchup. So if you missed that, you got to go check it out. Search up The Drive. But, Tom, this one is for you. Number 8, Ohio State, an 8-point favorite over number 7, Notre Dame. The over-under is 46 points on Monday night.
I think 8 points is too much. I like Notre Dame. I like their speed. I like Riley Leonard, the 2 interceptions. He threw that one bad pick against Penn State. You can't do that against Ohio State with the firepower they have on the offensive side. But I'm taking Notre Dame. I really like Marcus Freeman, and I'm a big fan, and I'm going to take him and Notre Dame. I will take the 8 points. I think it goes slightly over, but I'm not sure on that. Over 46. But I definitely feel really confident about Notre Dame plus the 8.
We're going to keep it rocking and rolling. It is Let It Ride.
Yeah.
And we've got some playoff action in the NFL this weekend with Patrick Mahomes. I wish, man. No Gene Deckerhoff on the call this weekend for your Buccaneers. Sir. He is back next year, however, on the call as the voice of the Buccaneers. Over under 250.5 passing yards for Mahomes against Houston Texans on Saturday. That's a little high, right, against that defense?
It is high. I think defensively, Houston's playing well. They have 2 good edge rushers. They got Danielle Hunter. They got Will Anderson. I'll tell you, this Derek Stingley is turning into one of the top corners in the league. When you think about the top corners in football, Patrick Surtain certainly comes to mind. Christian Gonzalez in New England is really, really good. I think Joey Porter's pretty good.
Jamel Dean.
No, I don't think I would put him.
Not at this time.
Not at this time, no.
Who's another guy, though?
I think Derek Stingley is right up there. I think he's in the top 3 or 4. So I'm going under. I think Kansas City will be running a lot with Isaiah Pacheco. Even though they got Hollywood Brown back, they've got their full complement of weapons. Coming off a bye, Andy Reid is like unbeatable, by the way. So I don't think the Chiefs will have too much trouble. I think initially, because they've had a long layoff, I think I can see them like being sluggish in the first quarter, but I can see the Chiefs getting better and better as this game wears on. But in terms of the passing yards, I think I would go slightly under for Patrick Mahomes.
How about Travis Kelce leading the way for over-under receiving yards for the Chiefs at 53.5 receiving yards?
I will go over because I think when Patrick Mahomes needs a big play on third down or down in the red zone, he's going to look Kelce's way. So I'm going to go over. By the way, do we know if Tay-Tay is going to be in attendance on Saturday?
It's a home game, right?
Yeah, she's got to be there.
She's going to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it's an away game, I don't like the odds of her being there, but it's a home game. She will be there.
She's got to be there, I would think.
And the tour is over. The Eras tour is over, Tom. You told me about that last week.
I didn't tell you about that. No, it was Lily told you about that.
I'm busting your chops.
She's got the calendar and the catalog, down pat.
She also has the ring.
Yeah, she's got the ring. That's right.
All right, so you're taking the over 53.5 receiving yards for Travis Kelce. How about Nico Collins, 82.5 receiving yards for Houston against Kansas City?
Well, they're going to have to lean on him big in this game, and I think they're going to be playing from behind, so I will go over on that number for Nico Collins. He's good.
And Jared Goff and the Lions will take on the Commanders Saturday. The over-under for Goff's passing yards is 270.5.
I'm going over. And look, the Lions are coming off a bye. They're at home. They've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. They've got Jamison Williams. They got Sam Laporta. They can throw it to Jahmyr Gibbs out of the backfield, who's had an incredible season. So, yeah, I'm going over on that number. I'm expecting the Lions to put up 35 to 40 points this weekend.
How about on the flip side with a guy who had a field day against the Buccaneers secondary last week? Terry McLaurin, over under 68.5 receiving yards.
I think it's going to be over, and he's really good. He's underrated. He caught 13 touchdowns during the regular season, and when it comes to grabbing those contested balls, and you saw that on that one deep pass down the left sideline, Jamel Dean really had decent coverage on him. He did get beat by like a quarter of a step, but any contested ball that goes in his area, Terry McLaurin's coming down with it. He is really, really good, so I'm going over.
All right, continuing with the Lions and Commanders, how about Jahmyr Gibbs over under 84.5 receiving yards? Or I should say rushing yards. Rushing yards, that is.
I'm going to go slightly under, believe it or not, Chris Mathis. And I don't feel great about it. The reason why I'm going under, like if I knew David Montgomery wasn't going to play, then I would definitely go over. But David Montgomery's going to be back. They call those two guys what? Sonic and Knuckles?
That sounds about right. Yeah.
And
I
Sonic
so.
Obviously is Jahmyr Gibbs, and Knuckles is the bruiser. That's David Montgomery. But Montgomery's going to play in this game. He's off the injury report. He's going to be back. If I knew Jahmyr Gibbs was going to have that backfield all to himself, absolutely I'm pounding the over on this. But now I don't feel as confident.
All right, lightning round. It is Let It Ride here on the drive. Over under 206.5 passing yards for Jalen Hurts against the Rams on Sunday.
Under. That passing game is struggling. They want to run it. He's going under.
How about A.J. Brown, your boy that had the book on the sideline, Tom? Over under 70.5 receiving yards.
I think that number is under 2. Now, if you're telling me 70.5 pages read on the sidelines, I would go over on that one.
Man.
Oh, come on.
No.
What?
Insulted him a little bit.
Come on, that was a good one.
That was good. I like that one. So you're taking the under receiving yards at 70.5 for A.J. Brown?
Under receiving, over on pages read. How's that?
Under receiving, over reading.
Yes.
There we go. How about Puka Nacua? 87.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, he's going over. And look, the Rams are going to have to, throw the ball a little bit. It might be difficult to run, although they're going to try and run and work play action. Sean McVay's a wizard. They always find out innovative ways to get Puka Nacua the ball. They will do that again this weekend.
All right, final game. We've got Ravens and the Bills. Josh Allen, 238.5 passing yards against that Ravens defense.
I think it's going to be over, only because they're going to find tough sledding trying to run against the Ravens. The Ravens defense, really good against the run. Their pass defense has improved in recent weeks, but I think Josh Allen, he's got a number of receivers he can lean on. When he extends plays, those off-schedule plays, That's where he's going to get his really big passing plays this weekend against Baltimore. So I'll go over 238.5.
How about Mr. MV3, Lamar Jackson, 221.5 passing yards against Buffalo?
It's going to be under. And the reason why is Zay Flowers is probably not going to play. He hasn't practiced all week. So I think they will lean on Derrick Henry. And in the passing game, it's going to be the likes of Rashad Bateman and Mark Andrews. So there's not going to be a ton of passing yards. They will concentrate on the run. Don't forget, when they met Buffalo in the regular season, they pounded the hell out of Buffalo on the ground.
Speaking of on the ground, Lamar Jackson, 52.5 for rushing yards.
Over.
Hammer the over.
I'm going to hammer the over.
Wow.
I think Buffalo's going to have a lot of trouble, not just with Derrick Henry, but with Lamar Jackson. Don't forget, have you seen the weather for this weekend, Sunday night?
I don't know. Is it snowing?
Oh, snow. Snow might be in the forecast and single-digit temperatures.
Yeah, that's going to be brutal. That's
Yeah.
going to be brutal for sure. How about Josh Allen to close it out, 45.5 rushing yards?
Over. And there's going to be design runs, and there's going to be plays where he escapes the pocket and gets plays off scheduled. So I think that's going to be a widely entertaining game Sunday night. I can hardly wait.
And that is Let It Ride here on The Drive, Tampa Bay.
All right. There it is. Those are my picks right there in a nutshell. I'll be on the Hard Rock Bet app with some 4 or 5 bet parlays happening. Let It Ride, presented by my guy, Dr. Jim DeRespino. Love that guy. And the great people over at the Center for Men's Health, C4MH.com. All right, 1 week come back, a check of traffic. We'll try and get you home in one piece. We're going to let you know what's on tonight. Rick Stroud, by the way, coming up at 6:05. More Buccaneer talk with him. But up next, what's on tonight? Plus, some breaking news on the Rays and their game times over at Steinbrenner Field. If you're planning on going there, we've got some news for you, and it is next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Boy, it is yucky outside. It's going to be very cool, if not cold tonight. It's getting down into the 40s. I hope for your sake that your hot water is running or the heat on your air conditioning. Like most of us here in the state of Florida, we don't get a chance to turn on our heat very often. Sometimes you turn it on and you smell that smell, which is normal if you're turning it on for the first time. But if you have any difficulty whatsoever, you got to get with my guys over at Rude, our partners over at Rude Air Conditioning, Ferguson HVAC, because air and water are two things a certified Rude Pro partner knows an awful lot about. You know you can rely on Rude to keep your indoor air comfortable. And now you know you can rely on Rude to make sure your hot water is flowing when you need it, especially when it's cold outside at night. The wife wants to take a hot bath or a hot shower. If that's not working, you're never going to hear the end of it from her. You guys know how all that works. Rude Water Heating is the industry leader for total water heating solutions. If you need conventional tank-type water heaters, they've got it. Tankless water heaters, that's what I've got. They've got that too. Replacement parts and accessories for all categories, check and check. Rude is your one-stop solutions provider. And with the exclusive backing of Ferguson HVAC, guess what? Your certified Rude Pro partner can get the best products and parts when you need it. Rude water heaters, engineered tough and built to last. For AC and water heating solutions, connect with a certified Rude Pro partner. Visit them online, rudeacflorida.com. That's Rude, R-U-U-D, acflorida.com. Tell them I sent you.
Exclude freezes. Tax extra.
Now, back to The Drive with TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. What's on tonight with The Drive with TKras?
Yes, sir. And here he is, the executive producer. The K. Dotton won the K. Dotton lookalike contest. Chris Mathis.
Oh, man, I feel honored today. I do. However, I did trim up the stash a good bit, so I don't feel quite as, I don't know, it's not as prominent as it once was, Tom. So we'll get right to it. Your Tampa Bay Lightning will host the Ducks. Not the Good Luck Ducks here of Tampa Bay, but the Anaheim Ducks right here at 7 o'clock at Amalie Arena. Also on tonight is free on-demand commercial-free podcasting of any feature, segment, hour-by-hour podcasting of today's show, yesterday's show, and that continues all down the line. You're not going to want to miss out on that. No football on tonight, unfortunately. No Thursday Night Football, which breaks my heart. My achy, breaky heart.
Yeah, breaks my heart, too. It just sucks that the football season is going to be coming to an end really soon.
Why'd they have to do it to us, Tom?
I don't know.
Why'd they have to lose?
You know,
Why'd they have to fumble the football? Why'd they have to leave the offense of Washington out on the field for so long? Why'd they do it to us, man?
Just one grunt
Seriously, though, I'm
after
upset.
another.
The more you sit here and think about it, the more heartbreaking it was on Sunday.
By the way, we'll get into the Rays in a matter of moments, but, you know, I messaged you earlier today because I saw something on social media with your boy.
You. Ow.
Tyreek Hill tweeted that he was on his way to Tampa. I'll be there in first off, you don't get to Tampa in 3 hours, not from Miami. Unless you're going 100 miles an hour.
Well, he flies like the cheetah. You know how fast he is.
Well, listen, then you're going to get pulled over. And then you're going to have another situation where you're calling Drew Rosenhaus because you're getting cuffed face down to the ground if you're going 120 miles an hour through Alligator Alley and whatever. But he mentioned that he was on his way to Tampa. For what reason? I don't know. And then people were jumping, oh, he's coming to the Bucs. I don't think so. Why is he coming to Tampa? Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, we know what Tampa's famous for. Down the strip, you know?
Well, look, is he heading to the spaceship, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe he's hanging out with John Gruden.
I tell you what, man, you know, the FFCA, you know what I mean? I've had a number of guys come through my office, you know what I mean? I'm over at a bar stool waiting for my phone to call. Maybe some team needs a head coach, you know what I mean? You know, the Saints, they should be calling me. I know Derek Carr. Me and Derek Carr, we got along just great. Just great. We can get some nicey plays going, Derek Carr. Nicey, Mathis.
I want to check out his Instagram stories and see if he's updated anything. No more tweets since that tweet at 10:22 this morning.
Oh, very interesting. All right, check his Instagram. While you do that, I want to let you know what the Rays announced today. So, Rays are playing at Steinbrenner, as you know. They announced their schedule in terms of the game times. Now, in April and May, the first couple of months of the season, the Rays will typically start their weeknight games at 7:05. So I'm looking at their schedule now at RaysBaseball.com, and basically all their weeknight games at home will be at 7:05 for April. I'm looking at May, same thing, 7:05. Royals, Phillies, 7:05. Brewers, 7:05. Astros, Blue Jays, Twins. Afternoon games at 1:10. For the most part, there's 1:10 during the day. Oh, they got a Wednesday game against the Astros at 1:10. Same thing, Twins, 1:10. That's a Wednesday. Weekend game, Saturday, 4:10 usually. Sunday, 1:40, but that was par for the course. And then you get into June. You know, kids will be out of school, rainy season. They're going to start the games a little bit later. So keep that in mind if you're looking for tickets. 7:35 starts beginning on June the 3rd when they host Texas. All three games against Texas, 7:35. I find this interesting. So the Marlins come in on Friday, June the 6th. Friday, for their series opener against the Marlins, it's a 1:10 game in the afternoon on a Friday. That's weird. because the Marlins are here Friday, Saturday, Sunday, June 6, 7, and 8. Friday the 6th at 1:10. Saturday, 4:10. Sunday, 12:10. So they're going to do like 12:10 starts on Saturdays and Sundays, beginning in June. They got another Saturday game on the 21st of June against the Tigers at 12:10. And then Sunday, the 22nd against the Tigers, also at 12:10. So really interesting. And then you get into, let's see what July looks like. July the 1st. It's going to be hot
for sure.
Oh, my gosh. You talk about oppressive heat. It's going to be unbearable. Like during the day, especially at night, hot, humid. Let me tell you, you guys that are complaining about the cold weather, you better pipe down, all right? Stop with it right now.
You'd keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy.
Yeah, pipe down. It's too cold outside. Come on, toughen up. Because in a few months, you're going to be sweating your arse off. So July the 1st, at night, that's a Tuesday, against the A's, 7:05. And then the next day against the A's at 12:10. Wednesday, July the 2nd. Let's see. Then they'll be home later on in the month of July, 7:35, Friday night against the Orioles, 7:05, Saturday night, July the 19th against the Orioles, 12:10 Sunday, July the 20th against the Orioles. Then the White Sox are in for 3. The team with the worst record in Major League Baseball history from a year ago, and they swept the Rays, by the way. Yeah. Ridiculous how you let that team.
Yeah, not going to get into that.
Well, listen, Shane Boz, you boys better lower the boom on the White Sox this year because they swept you last year. That's embarrassing. 7:35 starts all 3 of those days. And let's see what August looks like. August, the Dodgers are in that first weekend in August 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Bucs training camp will be underway. So things are going to be happening. Like, there's going to be a weekend, and it's probably not going to be that first weekend in August where you'll have the Rays playing at Steinbrenner. Then across the street over at Ray J, the Bucs will be playing a preseason game. And I think that weekend of August 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the Cardinals will be in town to take on the Rays, and the Buccaneers across the street may very well be playing a preseason game that same weekend.
It's exciting!
Well, the traffic, Coach, won't be exciting. I can tell you that. And then you're going to get into, when you get into August, the Rays have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They only have 8 home games in August. They'll be on the road for the most part of August. And then September, they have more home games. They're about 50-50 home to road games in September. The games in September during the weeknights will be 7:35, even though school will be back in session. 7:35 for the most part. There's a 1:10 game, an afternoon game on September the 18th on a Thursday against Toronto. So there you have it. So plan accordingly over at Steinbrenner Field. It'll be on the Tampa side. Yeah, the conditions will not be great to be outside at night or during the day. The day games certainly are going to be oppressive, but it's on the Tampa side, so the people that are too lazy to drive across the bridge will be more than likely to go to more games at Steinbrenner Field on the Tampa side. So there you have it. All right, 3 hours down, 1 more hour to go. Coming up, Buccaneers are out of the playoffs. So what kind of moves are they thinking about? What about their own free agents? What about free agents on the outside? What about the draft? What about Liam Cohen? What about Todd Bowles and job security? We'll get some answers. Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times, TampaBay.com. He will join me coming up next here on The Drive.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Folks, if you're looking to try out a new bourbon for the new year, may I recommend the Chattanooga Whiskey. It's awesome, and they have different forms of whiskey. The Chattanooga Whiskey 91, by the way, is really, really good. It's smooth. It's got 91 proof. It's their Tennessee high malt version. So it's their signature Tennessee high malt recipe. Their malt-forward approach to bourbon, selected among the first 100 barrels from their experimental distillery. So it's comprised of at least 25% specialty malted grains, but they meld it together for a nice, smooth, clean taste. You can mix this at 91 proof. You can make great old fashions out of this. I've done this for company. They love it. Or with a little bit of ice, or you want to do it neat with a cigar, it goes down smooth. The 111 is also outstanding. That's like a heavier bodied bourbon, but at 111 proof, that is also fantastic. You don't mix that with anything, by the way. The Chattanooga Whiskey 111, it's also awesome. And the bottled in bond is also fantastic. So check it out. Ask for it at your local bars or retailers. Drink Chattanooga whiskey, folks, and as always, enjoy responsibly.
Tampa, Clearwater, Lakeland, and Sarasota.
Hey, it's Bobby Bones. Join me and former NFL quarterback Matt Castle for our new podcast, Lots to Say with Bobby Bones and Matt Castle. Between us, we have over 17,500
Gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Just doing the little things right. Not turning the ball over, getting off the field on third down. Those are the little things that happened earlier year that came up at the end. We had a good stretch defensively of playing third downs. Didn't play them well last night. They got the turnover in the plus territory inside the red zone right there. It won't take injuries because people go to playoffs with injuries all the time. That's not even a factor.
Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers are out. What's next this offseason? Could be a busy one. Good evening, Tampa Bay. Welcome back. 6:07 on your ride home on this lovely Thursday evening. The Drive with yours truly, Tom Krasnicki, presented by Moss Nissan. You got Chris Mathis on the other side. More of your calls and texts coming up. We'll take you until 7. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Somebody texted in on the Bartow 4DA text platform, and I didn't even realize this. Metallica. Yes, yeah, thank you, Eric Neander. Metallica is going to be at Ray J on June the 6th and the 8th. That's why when the Marlins come to town that Friday, the Rays are playing at 1:10. Oh, my gosh. June afternoon game at 1:10. Good luck with that.
Get me out of here.
Get me out of here is right, Andy Fried. At least you're going to be locked up in the booth there at Steinbrenner Field with the great Neil Solondz with his binoculars and, his, radar detector.
Oh.
More on the Rays coming up in the matter of moments, but let's stick with the Buccaneers and be focused on what they're doing. What's the next move this offseason? What about the status of Liam Cohen? With us right now in the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DA hotline. Learn more at cfbhn.org. He's Rick Stroud. He covers the Bucs in the NFL for the Tampa Bay Times. You can read him at tampabay.com. And he's with me here on a Thursday. Rick, what's going on, my man?
What's up, Tom? We got no game this weekend, man.
I know, man. There's not going to be an inside the locker room or countdown to kickoff. I'm bummed because I thought the Buccaneers were set up to have a nice little run. They can run it. They can stop the run. Big play quarterback, career year. I thought they had a lot of momentum. Unfortunately, it came to an end. Were you surprised, as I was, that they're not playing this weekend, that they lost to Washington?
I don't know that surprised. I think anytime you get into the postseason, you're playing good teams, right? And so we've seen the Bucs on the other end of that, where they didn't have as good a record as, say, the Philadelphia Eagles, for example. But this is the postseason, and when you make mistakes, that's usually what determines who wins or loses because you're not able to overcome them against good teams. And I felt like. Obviously Washington had a great game plan. Jaden Daniels was terrific. They couldn't get off the field on defense, and then only had the 7 possessions. But within that, you had a cataclysmic play on the jet sweep to McMillan, and that play right there, that coupled with not picking up a first down, having to settle for a field goal near the goal line, and those 2 offensive failures really cost you as well. So it's a team game. It's easy to point fingers. I know fans like to do that, but they just weren't on their game that day, and they let Washington dictate some things.
They sure did, and Jaden Daniels is special. 6 fourth-quarter comebacks as a rookie. I mean, he's going to go on to bigger and better things throughout the course of his career. And the other play, Rick, was Kalijah Kancey. I guess he thought it was flag football. He grabbed his towel and couldn't get him down. And look, these are young players. Jalen McMillan and Graham Barton with the premature snap, and Kalijah Kancey's a second-year guy. I mean, these are young, really, really good players, and they're going to learn from those mistakes.
Well, they will, and the thing is, you just don't know how many more chances you get, and that's the thing. This team's been in the playoffs 5 straight years. Different quarterbacks, different players, obviously. But when you work so hard to get into the tournament, that's just really the start of it, right? And so you have to learn how to finish. But really, all year long, this team had a difficulty finishing games. We saw really 4 walk-off losses during the season, and many of those were self-inflicted mistakes and things that happened to them. So they have the makings of a good team. They certainly got to add to a lot of pieces on defense, I think, through free agency in the draft, but When you've got the quarterback, their offense was terrific this year. They've got some really good young players on both sides of the ball, but particularly on offense. That's a great place to start. It's a great foundation. And look, only one team's going to be happy when this is all over. There's two really good teams playing this weekend. With Buffalo and Ravens, only one of them are going to advance. And, feel how those fan bases are going to feel, whether it's Baltimore or Buffalo that loses. So that's just the reality of the NFL, and the season ends really fast.
Rick Stroud, Tampa Bay Times. You can read him at tampabay.com. And, Rick, you had a couple of stories about Todd Bowles, and you mentioned the finger pointing, and a lot of fans want to point fingers in his direction. I think he's safe for now, but next year, this team is going to need a deep playoff run or else. So where do you come with regard to Todd Bowles? How do you feel about that?
I don't know about ultimatums and things like that. I mean, I think every year is different. I think Todd made it clear to his team that, the team that they had this year is not going to be the one they have next year. I mean, in the NFL, you might have, sometimes as much as a 30-year roster turns over, right? And so tell me how the year goes. I mean, if Baker Mayfield gets hurt in week 2, we're holding Todd Bowles responsible for not making the postseason or making a deep run. So, there's variables and factors to each year. But at some point, if you have sustained success, people are going to want you to go and win a Super Bowl. That's what this whole thing is about anyway. But I've always thought that, if you have a franchise that can consistently be in the hunt, win division titles, get to the postseason, that eventually you might break through. And, whether Todd is a coach that's going to be able to lift the Lombardi trophy one day, I don't know. We're going to probably find that out. But, I do think that they've done a good job of transitioning. We talked about this. Me and you have a lot about from the Tom Brady spendthrift eras, or spending a lot of eras to what, they are now, a very young football team. They re-signed their own free agents, and that was great. But, it's a different feel, a different vibe to this football team. There's a lot of youth on it, and that's good and bad. But, they've got to find a way to maximize these opportunities. When you get to the postseason, me and you have been around a long time, and we've gone years and years without them sniffing it, right? I think 12 straight seasons, they didn't make the postseason. 6 straight under Jason Light, if you can believe that. So when you go through those periods, then you need to appreciate and take advantage of the times that you are in the tournament, and I think that's what they need to do. But it's hard to no one has a crystal ball. I know people are disappointed. It's always easy to blame the head coach, and there's only one fan base that's going to be happy this year. We hear a lot about Liam Cohen. I'm sure you're asking about him, but I think Todd Bowles has actually done a pretty good job of building the culture. Now, can we get on him for not being more aggressive at times, for mismanaging the clock, for not going for it more than he probably should in an era where a lot of teams are going on fourth down. Certainly Washington did the other night. And those are all valid criticisms. And he says he wants to continue to grow as a coach. So let's see if he does that. But, for right now, I think overall they're in a pretty good place. And then we'll just have to see what happens with the offensive coordinator.
You just mentioned it. Leads me into my next question. Liam Cohen is getting some looks from other teams. He interviewed up in Jacksonville yesterday. I'm not sure if any other teams, Rick, are calling his phone. Maybe you can clue us in on that. But what are the chances that Liam Cohen sticks around for another year?
I think there's a good chance. I mean, look, he's got one interview that we know about. I would expect Tom Brady may want to talk to him with the Raiders, but that hasn't happened. There's a lot of talk about maybe Ben Johnson out there for whatever reason. I think some of these teams are going to wait and want to talk to the teams that are still in the playoffs, and that makes sense too. So we still got a little ways to go. The fact of the matter is that he's called plays in the NFL one season. And for anybody, whether it's Jacksonville or anybody else, it's a projection. About how Liam Cohen would be as a head coach. And I think he'll be a head coach in this league if he continues on the arc that he is right now. But he's 39 years old. And, he's going to have other opportunities, I think, to interview, and maybe better opportunities than the Jacksonville Jaguars. But it's hard to turn these jobs down, Tom. I mean, there's only 32 of them in the world, and that's heady stuff when they say, come on up here and be one of the NFL head coaches. And you got Trevor Lawrence, and these guys are very confident in their abilities, and they think that they can win because they've been successful their whole careers. So I don't know what's going to happen up there. I know that they consider him a strong candidate, but I'm sure there's other strong candidates as well. But regardless of that, a year ago, I don't remember many people ringing me or hitting up my timeline saying we need to hire Liam Cohen from Kentucky.
Right.
They were all lamenting the loss of Dave Canales and how are we going to get past the loss of Dave Canales? Well, there's a lot of great coaches in the National Football League. There really is. And continuity wins, and you'd love to have it for more than a year. And that's going to be between Liam if he gets an opportunity. But there'll be another coach. They'll come in here, and with this talent, all I know is if I'm an offensive coordinator, and we talked about this, the last 2 guys that came in here got head coaching jobs, man, I'm running to Tampa.
Absolutely.
I see the talent, and I see the situation down there, and I'm like, hey, I want to coach. Let me have these guys for a year, and I'll go be a head coach.
Hell yeah. I would love to have Tristan Wirfs and Luke Geheke as my tackle combination, and Baker Mayfield and Bucky Irving, and you just hit on it, and you and I talked about this last week. Okay, if Liam leaves, fans think it's going to be the end of the world. You've had 2 offensive coordinators in 2 years, go on to have head coaching jobs. There's going to be so many coaches that would love to come here and work with this talent. A, because it's a great, talent base on offense. B, it's a fast track to becoming a head coach in the NFL.
Yeah, I thought, John Romano had a good call, and this notion that you can't lose an offense. And look, when you have a defensive coach, a head coach that's on that side of the ball, or not an offensive play caller, this is going to happen. But that doesn't mean you can't win, right? Like, John Harbaugh doesn't call plays, right? Sean McDermott doesn't call the offensive plays. Belichick never did, And then sometimes when you go for the hot assistant, you end up with Arthur Blank. or a Josh McDaniels, okay? How did they do when they got to be head coach? It's a different job, you know, and you're not just in there, you know, game planning for one side of the ball. Your time is pulled in a million different directions. So you're not able to do the same job you did when you were the offensive coordinator. That now that you're the head coach, you got media, and you've got, you know, 5 things that come across your desk every day. This player's mom is sick. This guy got in an accident. You know, how high do you want the grass cut today? I mean, those are all real things that, you know, pull their attention away from what they do best. So, you know, it happens organically in this league. You're not going to stop it, but I think there's a pretty good chance that maybe Liam is back, and if he's not, I'm with you. I think that there's going to be lots of people that'll take this group and continue to win with them.
The Bucs have more than 20 free agents, Rick, and right at the top of the list, Chris Godwin, who was hurt midway through the season in the Ravens game. Levante David was in the locker room, you know, emptying out his locker. You know, you and I were there the other day. The chances that those 2 guys come back, I think both guys, believe it or not, will be back, but what's your gut feeling?
Well, I mean, we're getting closer to the end than the beginning, certainly for a guy like Levante David. And, you know, he's kind of been year to year a little bit here for a while. He had an outstanding season statistically. He's not the player. You know, he's the same age as right now. He will be in a couple weeks or next week. I think he'll be the same age as Derek Brooks as he was when he played his last football game. Think about that for a minute. So he's had a great career. I don't know, you know, what his other, you know, with his family obligations and all of that. I don't think he wants to play for another team. I think he'd like to, you know, finish his career here. But that's something that probably won't be decided until much longer. You got to let these guys decompress and get away from the game and see if they still want to put themselves through what they have to in the offseason. He works really hard to still maintain his level of play. With Chris Godwin, it's a little different because you're talking about an injury, pretty severe injury, and we've seen him come back from that, so there's confidence that he will do that. But I do think that, you know, a lot of times that comes down to, you know, what is his opportunity outside of the Bucs? Or, you know, is that injury going to prevent him from being a free agent? I think he'll be 29 years old. And so, you know, he's already going to cost them some money on the salary cap if he doesn't play, because they had some voidable years. And so, you know, if he does play, you know, you can do some things with the contract and maybe mitigate some of that. But I think there's probably a chance for both of them, to be honest. I think with Levante, it's going to be up to him. And with Chris, you know, Todd Bowles says he'd love to have him back. And it's going to be a question of whether or not they can come to an agreement on how much money that is and what other opportunities he may want to take out there. But, man, he was playing great when he got hurt, and it's unfortunate. But can you imagine if you could get a Chris Godwin at the level he played this year to go now with Dalen McMillan, who's, you know, really matured and ended up having, I think, as many touchdowns or more touchdowns than he made in the league the last 5 games. So that would be quite a group of 3 receivers to go with Mike.
You got that right. And if they can bring those guys back, I mean, good luck trying to defend those 3 wide receiver sets, whether Liam Cohen is here or not. And the Bucs don't have a whole lot of salary cap space, Rick. They've got the 19th pick. But I think Jason Light, and you know Jason Light and how he operates, he wants to take care of his own guys first before he looks outside of the building. But when he finally does look outside of the building, edge rusher. I think corner is absolutely a position of need. And look, Todd Bowles didn't say this publicly, but privately he's got to be thinking, you know, Jamel Dean, this is another guy like Carlton Davis. I can't rely on this guy. He's always hurt.
Yeah, they were very similar. I think Jamel was just a little less hurt than Carlton, and that's why Carlton was a guy that was traded. But, you know, it's unfortunate because he's a great kid and he's a good cover corner. Doesn't catch the ball very well. Hasn't had many interceptions, that's for sure. So I think you always need to address that because, look, the problem they had this year is that they had no veteran experience behind them. They wanted Bryce Hall to be that backup. He got hurt in the first game. And so now you're taking, you know, guys like Josh Hayes out there who's never played, and it doesn't work. And so you're going to have to find, you know, some veterans at minimum to, you know, to back up some guys. You may draft the corner in the first round. You know, you don't know who you're going to get in the draft, but the combination of draft and free agency, I would agree they got to address that. And they got to find really a difference maker on defense, you know, in terms of somebody. You know, they got great players. I think Elijah Cansey's going to be a really good player if he can play all 17 games. Vita Vea's still got something left in the tank, obviously. I think Yaya Diaby is learning how to survive in this league with a lot of attention paid to him. But you can find somebody else to go with him that rushes from the outside, but a difference maker. You know, someone that can impact the game, that can wreck the game, that teams have to pay a lot of attention to. That's what they were lacking on this defense without Antoine Winfield Jr. being able to be healthy and not really playing well when he did. You know, you just didn't have enough playmakers out there. Only 7 interceptions on the year. That's just not going to get it done. So they've got to find that guy or several of them. And if they do that, to go with the offense that they had and the number of points that they were able to score, and then not hurt themselves. And that's the other thing. This team, in critical crunch times, committed too many penalties, too many self-inflicted mistakes. You know, you got to really play clean in this league, and particularly in the postseason. You know, and you got to be aggressive, and you really got to come out and take those games. You know, you can't sit back and let other teams dictate the tempo. You know, I'd rather see, if I were a Bucs fan, I'd rather see him get into a shootout and send the house on every play at Jaden Daniels than die slow. You know, you had a choice. You could die slow death or a quick one, and I think it'd be better to die a quick one and just run up and down the field with them. But that's not how it went, and I think, you know, Bowles and them will learn from that. But the biggest thing is get your guys healthy and add to a pretty good group already, and particularly try to improve the defensive side to go with what you already got on the offensive side.
Or if they can do that, they can play with anybody. They can beat anybody. All right, I'll get you on this, and I'm trying to find out why this didn't occur. To my recollection, Rick, and you were at the stadium, there was no duck in the building. Nobody brought in a duck from what I saw. Did you see any ducks? Because the luck of the duck, no duck, no luck, no wolf, no part. What happened?
I don't know, man. I thought I saw Ryan Jensen with a duck. Was I wrong about that?
That was 2 weeks ago, I think. That was the Saints game.
They didn't. Also, there was a playoff duck. But that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, that's a mistake, and I don't think they can let that happen again. You need a Mallard for the situation, and our friend and anchor that captured the duck needs to go reacquaint himself over there at the park or where you let him go and see if he can't bring that thing back in the stadium, because that was a seminal moment, obviously, of the season, and I think they lost some of that duck power. I'm with you, man. I'm all about signs and omens and things like that. So maybe that might have been the difference. I don't know, but they certainly needed something. They needed one more stop or one more touchdown, and they'd have had it, but it wasn't to be this year. So they start back down to the mountain. You know what? 31 other teams are doing that too. Actually, all 32 will, but.
Rick, I appreciate it as always, my man. We will talk soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. See you, Tom.
See you, Rick. Rick Stroud. You can read him at TampaBay.com. Great insight there. Buccaneer articles. We had John Romano on the show yesterday. Well, the day before, I don't know. These days, they kind of meld together. And he wrote a great article about how fans don't give Todd Bowles enough credit. They just want to run him out of town. And look at this text here. It is a prime example. Come on. Out of the 260, wherever that is, Bo should absolutely be held accountable if Baker goes down week 2. Trask has been his assistant for multiple years and should know the offense well enough to be sufficient, especially with the receiving core and Bucky Irving at running back. He sounds just like that too, by the way. Why is that Bowles' problem? Bowles does not run the offense. That's a Liam Cohen issue. By the way, Kyle Trask, one of those pending free agents, the Buccaneers have more than 20 of them. And I'd be surprised if Kyle Trask returned, honestly. 888-546-4620 are your calls and texts. You can react on what you just heard. It is 6:29 on your ride home here on a Let It Ride Thursday. Also on the other side, a really sad day in the world of sports and entertainment. This one kind of hit me hard, too. I'll explain next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is a drive, and it is presented by Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. TKras here, Chris Mathis as well. We both have experienced the Moss Nissan effect. They want to put you behind the wheel of a new pre-owned vehicle here in 2025. And if holiday hangovers get you down, or credit card debt maybe has got you bogged down as well, we've got the cure, Chris.
The answer is 2 words. It's simple. Moss Nissan. No money down, plus no payments until the spring.
Which is a beautiful thing. And I've got Moss Care on my vehicle. With every purchase, you'll get Moss Care. What is that? That is unlimited oil changes and tire rotations for as long as you own your vehicle. It's awesome.
So you're going to get all of that and so much more, including the largest Nissan inventory in Tampa Bay.
You got that right. And they've got 3 locations: Tampa, Newport Richey, and Brooksville. Or you can hit them up online at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, whatever it takes.
WDAE traffic update. This report is sponsored by Allstate.
Crash in Largo on southbound Seminole Boulevard near 8th Avenue Southwest. Crash on eastbound Ulmerton near Roosevelt blocking 2 right lanes. And eastbound Gulf to Bay just before McMullen Booth in the right-hand lane. Delays on northbound 301 from north of I-4 to Harney Road. And delays on northbound 275 on the exit 256. Get traffic info around the clock by searching News Radio WFLA on iHeartRadio. I'm Randy Myers.
Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Those people are probably saving a carload of cash right now. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
You okay?
I can't sleep with this cough.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that cold.
Vaporize?
Yeah, with NyQuil VapoCool. It's NyQuil plus a rush of Vicks vapors.
Whoa.
So you ready to get some sleep? Thank you, NyQuil VapoCool.
NyQuil VapoCool, the vaporizing nighttime coughing, aching, fever, best sleep with a cold medicine. And to vaporize sore throat pain, try Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Whether you're tinkering in your garage or tackling big projects, if you know the value of working with your hands, you know Harbor Freight. And you can be confident knowing that at Harbor Freight, you can get quality tools at prices that work just as hard as you do. Because the only thing more satisfying than a job well done is a job well done, well under budget. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
Hey guys, TKras here for Catania and Catania. If you or someone you love has been injured in an accident, protect your rights. Do what I did. Call Catania and Catania, the personal injury law firm located right here in Tampa Bay.
With TKras, presented by Moss Nissan on WDAE.
There's a red moon rising.
Welcome back, 6:36 on your ride home. Tom Krasnicki with you on The Drive all the way up until 7 o'clock. So if you recognize this tune, this was the theme to the movie Major League right at the beginning of Major League, the first Major League. And the reason why we're playing this is we're doing this in tribute to the late, great Bob Uecker, whom we lost today at the age of 90. He, in my opinion, was the star of those Major League movies. I know you're going to give me Corbin Burnson and, what's his face? Ricky Vaughn, Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes, and Tom Berenger, and all those other guys. Let's be clear. Bob Uecker made those movies, especially the first one. The other two that followed were awful, honestly. The first one was incredible. And the reason why that movie was incredible was because of Bob Uecker's depiction of Harry Doyle, the radio play-by-play man of the Cleveland Indians. He was extraordinary in this movie. And, of course, this was one of the best sequences. In my opinion, this was my favorite part of the movie when the Indians opened the season against the New York Yankees.
Vaughn, a juvenile delinquent in the offseason in his Major League debut.
I'm gonna light your ass up, meat.
Vaughn into the windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed. Ball 4. Ball 8. Low, and Vaughn has walked the bases loaded on 12 straight pitches. Boy, how can these guys lay off pitches that close?
It's extraordinary, you know? Oh my gosh. He was great. He was great in that movie. He made that movie, in my opinion. Mr. Baseball, he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He did Brewers games forever. An incredible broadcaster. Mr. Belvedere, I know a lot of people liked him on that show. For me personally, I absolutely adored Bob Uecker. Love him. Absolutely adored him in Major League. And he also did some announcing work. He was like a celebrity announcer for the World Wrestling Federation at the time, or WWE. At WrestleMania 3, he was there, and he was the ring announcer for the main event, which was Hulk Hogan against Andre the Giant. And everyone remembers WrestleMania 3 and that epic match. And that match was upstaged, by the way, by Ricky Steamboat beating Macho Man Randy Savage, which to this day I think is still the greatest match of all time. That's why WrestleMania 3, for my money, is the best WrestleMania ever, because of Savage, Steamboat, and, of course, Hogan, Andre, and the late, great Bob Uecker was the ring announcer for Hogan and Andre. And then the next year, they brought him back, and he was at WrestleMania 4 when they had the tournament to determine who was going to be heavyweight champion. And, of course, Macho Man won it by beating Ted DiBiase in the final match. But Hogan and Andre were also in that tournament, and they wrestled each other. And they were both disqualified because they both started hitting each other with steel chairs, and the referee rang the bell, disqualified them both. And after that match, and this was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments ever, Bob Uecker was joined by the late, great also, Andre the Giant, and what was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments and one of my favorite WrestleMania interviews ever.
Hi again, everybody. You know, this thing is really getting kind of serious now. I haven't been able to locate Vanna White, and I was supposed to... hi, Andre. Hey, my good buddy.
Vanna, you get me. You get the Giant, the only professional wrestler who's still undefeated. And Hulk Hogan, I'm proud to be it, because now Ted DiBiase is on his way up. That's what he paid me for, to keep you out of the tournament, Hogan. And you are. And I know one thing, and that's why the people go to North too, and that's why they're going to remember you are the ex-champion, Hogan.
Well, there you have it. I still haven't found.
Yes, the ex-champion. Don't worry about Vanna White. Now, Hulk Hogan, Hulkamania is over.
Hey, how about getting your foot off my shoulder?
And he chokes out Bob Uecker at the end of the interview. Choke him. Oh my gosh. And then as Andre, after he chokes him, Andre is kind of walking off the shot. You can see Andre cracking a smile. You know, he's trying to put on a show, him and Bob Uecker. It was so great, man. And those two, well, they can get together now and reconvene and maybe recreate that scene up there. That's great. Andre the Giant. Don't worry about Vanna White. I'm the only professional wrestler undefeated for 15 years, okay? That's why DiBiase paid me the money to keep you out of the tournament. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. Andre the Giant, dude, was one of my favorites. I used to love impersonating him. Still do. Let's go to phones before we break. Mark is in St. Pete. Mark, good evening, sir.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to follow that one up on Bob Uecker, but didn't he play his short career with St. Louis?
Bob Uecker, yes, I believe so.
Because he was very familiar with St. Pete, then having the Cardinals trainer for all those years.
He won a World Series ring with St. Louis in 1964. Also played with Atlanta and Philadelphia too.
He got to play with Stan Musial then.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, that's right. St. Pete's got a lot of history in spring training.
Yep.
A lot of good memories because I'm 66, born here, and I actually saw Stan Musial in spring training as a kid. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about the Bucks. I went to the game Sunday night, me and my son, and I got to tell you, I was really disappointed about how many Washington fans are there. It was unbelievable. I mean, when they scored a touchdown, you knew they were in the stadium.
Yeah, I was dismayed by that too, Mark. Honestly. And
and I tell you what, there were some obnoxious ones. And I tell you what, my son had to hold me back on a couple of times, man, because I was just like, come on now, Anyway, it is what it is. But I tell you what, don't we win when we score first?
Usually, yes.
Why did we defer? I mean, I think we should have took the ball because you know how he adjusts defense second half, right? So put our defense out there the second half after you make adjustments. And, score first. That's what we've done all year.
I agree with you, Mark, and I appreciate the phone call, buddy. I'm sorry about your experience at the game. And, yeah, there were a lot of Commandos fans there. I didn't care for it. And, Ronnie and I, when we were on the show on Friday, our happy hour, by the way, Ronnie will be here tomorrow for happy hour. We got a big show. I'm going to tell you about that in a matter of moments. Huge show tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm so excited. There were tickets available all over the stadium. So for a playoff game, it's a little disheartening that you had fans find their way into our own stadium, a lot of them as well. By the way, speaking of unruly fan behavior, did you see the Eagles fan with the female Packers fan last weekend? Despicable. So it got out. It was videotaped. It was taped. This guy is completely harassing a female Packers fan. It's an Eagles fan. Of course, Eagles fans are scumbags. We all know that. And he called her some just ridiculously vicious names. So this video went viral. It got out. He works for some company in New Jersey. They saw it, and they fired the guy. So he got fired, he was humiliated, and he came out with this statement, there's a lot of context to it. Get the hell out of here. I saw the video. I saw what you said. That girl did nothing to spur you. You did it because you were an asshole. Now how do you feel? How's your ass now? I'm glad you got fired. There's so much angst in this world. There's so many just awful, hateful people, bitter people. And I say this all the time. Be careful what you put on social media. Be careful how you act in public, because it'll get back to you. It will bite you in the ass. And you got what you deserved. You were humiliated, then you were fired. All Eagles fans should seek mental health help, by the way. When we come back, I'm off my soapbox. Final thoughts, the final drive. I'll look ahead to a big Football Friday show next.
You're tuned in to The Drive with TKras.
Oh, yeah, the NFL divisional playoff games this weekend. I'll be all over it on the Hard Rock Bet app. I'll have some parlays going on that. Of course, January also has the biggest college football game of the year. The national championship game is on Monday. I've got a parlay going on that, too. You guys need to download the Hard Rock Bet app. It's Florida's only legal sports book. They've got parlays for days. They've got a big profit boost for the national championship game on the Hard Rock Bet app. So download it now on the App Store or go to hardrockbet.com and you'll be able to get in on the action, guys. Those profit boosts could make you some real big money if you hit on these parlays and some of these lines. You can also wager on the MMA, college basketball, hockey, and a whole lot more. And if you miss out on your first bet of $100, you can get that back, too, on the Hard Rock Bet app. So get on it right now, the Hard Rock Bet app, download it, and go to work and make that money. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida.